In the rearview mirror lurk the Wildcats of Northern Michigan. They'll try to run off Michigan State in Game 1 of the CCHA semifinals. Detroit, Michigan, once again the site of the CCHA championship weekend. Semifinal action tonight with Ohio State and Michigan as the back end. But first up, number 3 in the nation and number 1 seed Michigan State and their great defense against Northern Michigan and the Cats' very pesky offense. Josh Lewin along with Mike Greenlay. Very nice to have you here in Detroit for what should be a very exciting weekend of college hockey. And if the dance card looks remarkably the same, you're not wrong. This is where we were last year too.
Yes, all 4 teams back again for a second tilt, but will the results be the same?
Michigan State is hoping yes, because Michigan State is the defending champion here in the CCHA. They were led last year by Mike York. They are certainly being led by York again.
Indeed, Mike York, the CCHA Player of the Year this year, last year's MVP of this very tournament. He has explosive offense and a stifling defense, and that's just Mike York. He will try to lead by example as he did last year.
And last night was named the Player of the Year in conference. Northern Michigan maybe doesn't have the pizzazz of a Mike York, but they do have a guy who likes to help. That's Buddy Smith.
Yeah, Buddy Smith, he's not big in stature, but he's big in statistics. He has led Northern Michigan in assists the last 3 seasons. He is tough to contain because of his speed and shiftiness. Look for him to contribute tonight.
This has actually been a very, very well-played series this year between Michigan State and Northern Michigan. For more on that, we go ringside now to Jim Blaney.
Josh, the biggest goal differential in a game between these 2 teams this year is 2 goals. So it tells you they play it very tight, but it also tells you these 2 teams are prepared to play playoff-style hockey. Tight checking, low scoring, where every goal is critical. Back to you.
Mike York has been the difference in the season series so far. Brad Frattaroli will try and put a body on him as the Wildcats and Spartans get set. We've got the drop of the puck next.
Strong sensibility.
I started teaching at a young age, so I value the student-teacher relationship. That's why I came to Northern. Small classes mean I get a lot of individual attention. To me, that's important. You know, I could have gone to school a lot closer to home, but I really liked what Northern had to offer, especially the personal attention.
Northern naturally.
Come experience the magic of Kuwaitan casinos. Make Kuwaitan your northern destination. Enjoy Las Vegas-styled casino action, including craps, roulette, and $100,000 live keno. Try your luck from over 1,000 slot machines with progressive jackpots, or enjoy the comfort of one of our 300 hotel rooms. Kuwaitan means north and so much more.
This simple-looking device is the key to discovering your hidden potential. It can change the look and shape of every line and curve on your body. Because it's the weight, the challenge, and the secret behind one of the most effective fitness machines in the world. Introducing the Bowflex Power Pro. Bowflex uses patented power rod resistance to give you an incredibly smooth, natural feel for over 60 different health club quality exercises. With features like a built-in aerobic rowing exercise, convertible grips, and convenient folding capabilities, it's easy to see why a Bowflex was selected by Fitness Magazine as the best home gym. It's time to get the results you want with no money down and payments as low as $33 a month. Call right now for your free video and brochure and discover the look you've always wanted with the Bowflex Power Pro.
Home team's Fox attitude. You're watching Fox Sports Detroit.
Michigan State and Northern Michigan, the first of the 2 semifinals in this year's CCHAs. Ohio State and Michigan will be following what we've got here, the Battle of the Green, just after St. Patty's Day. Michigan State and Northern Michigan, we are ready for the national anthem. Northern Michigan has played Michigan State awfully close all year, losing 3-1, 2-1, and 5-3, then a 1-1 tie most recently up in Marquette. And it's a Marquette native in net for the Wildcat team. That is Dan Ragaset. 2.4 goals against average. He was terrific in that mild upset of Notre Dame. The Wildcats had to rally to win that series. They were down one game and then won the last two. Joe Blackburn from Michigan State. Just sit back, read the numbers, let them sink in. That is incredible what he has done this year. Of course, he's got a fine defense there in front of him.
Well, that's why Michigan State wasn't picked to finish first, but he certainly made it happen with the numbers he has put forth this year.
Now, Rick Comley is the coach of Northern Michigan. His team is the most prolific scoring team in the CCHA, and Rick Comley played for the man who's on the other bench way back when. He played for Ron Mason at Lake State in the late 60s. Ron Mason recruited Rick Comley away from Red Wings training camp. Comley could have been skating with the likes of Gordie Howe and Mickey Redmond, and even Red Berenson, who we'll see a little bit later on tonight. But Ron Mason, who was named the coach of the year for the 7th time in his career last night. His team will be policed by Steve Petrowski, helped by John Pearson and John LeDuc. And Mike Greenley, we talked about how evenly matched Michigan State and Northern Michigan have been with each other this year. Northern Michigan actually has been either tied or ahead in the third period in each of the 4 games played so far this year, but they haven't actually won any of them.
Well, you can never count out Michigan State. Northern, a very strong team, and I think they may surprise some people here this weekend, but Michigan State has earned all the accolades that they've been given, and so obviously the favorite coming into this CCHA Final Four here at the Joe.
And it is the same 4 teams as last year, the same pairings as last year. It's the only time that's happened in the 18 years this tournament has been played here at Joe Louis Arena. So this is where we came in last March on the 3rd weekend of the month. Northern Michigan and Michigan State getting set. Michigan State moving right to left in the white jersey and underway with Mike York's line out there. Mike Sandback will blast it. Intercepted for a moment. Hodgins able to shuttle it out towards center. Mike Sandback cranks it in. Chris Bogus back in the lineup for Michigan State. He's playing with a cast on his hand. He's recovering from a broken thumb.
That'll hurt him a little bit as far as maneuverability, but he's been such a strong player that, and as he shoots it in, you see that it hasn't hurt him that much.
Paul shooting. Pass deflected wide, picked back up, and sent in by Kozakowski. Northern Michigan actually got 37 shots on net last time these two teams played, and that is a significant number. That's the most shots allowed by Michigan State all year. Not too many teams can skate up and down the ice with Michigan State, but the Wildcats out of the Upper Peninsula have done just that in 4 tries. Brought in offsides. We played a minute 5. Now, Michigan State getting all kinds of contributions from the seniors, but the freshmen like Joe Goodenow also have been part of the story here this year for a Michigan State team that has lost only 3 times in conference and only 4 times overall.
Ron Mason looking on. He is definitely going to have his team ready. Won Coach of the Year last evening at the CCHA banquet. See if he can coach his team to another and a 2nd consecutive CCHA tournament final.
Quickly down to Jim Blaney, ringside.
Josh, you want to know why goaltenders wear masks now? There was a dump in by Mike York a moment ago that sailed wide of the net and hit the boards behind Ragaset, or excuse me, it was Chris Bogus. But look at the damage it did to the other side of the board. Peeling off the paint is how hard the shot was. Back to you.
Well, Chris Bogus apparently with that broken thumb and all can still steer it, if not on net, at least a little wide of the net with some velocity. And Dan Ragaset knows what he's up against in that Northern Michigan net. Mike York is a guy that is the sniper, but he's not just purely a shooter. He can certainly dish the puck as well. His line has been the line for Michigan State all year. 49 points for York, and he's had plenty of help with Adams and the freshman Hall.
Well, he's had more than 1 point in 4 of his last 5 games, and he carries a 7-game point streak into this weekend. He, as you said, has had a hand in over 40% of MSU's goals this year and 52% in the last 10 games. He is definitely contributing here in the early part of the playoffs.
Puck knocked down. Jeff White tried to sail it in. Phillips back to control for Northern Michigan. The Wildcats, again the number 5 seed, they lost at South Bend and then had to rally in a best-of-3 series. They blasted the Fighting Irish 7-1 on the Saturday night game and hung on 3-2, and that's why they've got the date with Mike York and Michigan State.
Mike York, part of a pretty solid line, what they call the NBA line. It's all business with these guys. They've combined for 55 goals this year, almost half of the goals that the Spartans have scored. It's been quite incredible. York, Adams, and Hall each have 5 game-winning goals and share the Spartan lead in that category.
Damon Witten's line comes out, or rather Sean Mather's line out, as the Wildcats attempt to clear. In a scoreless game, we're just underway in the first of the 2 semifinal matches. The nightcap is Ohio State and Michigan. And we dare say you don't need us to build up that rivalry at all. You can probably draw your own conclusions about how that one has gone. John Insana fakes his shot, now tries to get the wrister away. Mather's shot deflected wide of the net. Sean Patchell. Rich Mitro plays his man. Mattersdorfer coming in there for Northern Michigan. Red Mattersdorfer trying to curl it to the far wing. Brian Phillips bumps it. And it finally does skitter out towards center ice. Michigan State's attention is to defense first, but when Mike York is on the ice, and he is right now, that's when they're looking to score. York was stretching trying to get there, but it's banged out by Lee Ruff. Brad Hodgins, always an offensive-minded defenseman, but once you're in that Ron Mason program, you learn to pay attention to defense too. Michigan State allowing 51 goals all year. That's in 39 games. But if they're going to be tested by any team still alive here, Northern Michigan will provide that test. They're the team that led the conference in goals scored. York into the slot. Good move. Hutchinson. Kozakowski shooting and hugging the post was Dan Ragaset. He dives down on it. And we've got the whistle. 16:26 left, first period. No score.
Features like voicemail work when I travel?
Let me ask my supervisor. Hello! Well, that all depends. If you're traveling from Zone A to Zone B, or B to C, or E to F, or S to D, or B to D to Q, or A to C to M to E, or J to G.
Sprint PCS works the same wherever you go. On the nation's only 100% digital, 100% PCS network built from the ground up. Plus, you get the new free and clear plan, including free long distance.
Hey, thanks.
Hi.
Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
Back at Joe Louis, check out why Michigan State is so tough and why Mike York can get things done. He'll circle around and find the late guy coming in, and that's why they're so good. They're on a line change there. There's only a couple of them in the zone, but they find the men coming in the zone regardless. Mike York has such great sight on the ice that he's able to find players anywhere, even in a shorthanded situation temporarily because of the line change.
Mike York also right now on a 7-game point-scoring streak. And remember, Michigan State has lost just once in their last 28 games. York from behind the net. And he was a wizard from back there in the finals of this tournament last year with a couple of goals from behind that red goal line. Ryan Adams trying to carve it out of the corner. York comes in to help. And it is Mike York ending up with it. Centering pass when bouncing by the stick of his line mate Adam Hall. And Hall, by the way, has been just as big as York in the last week or so. We got a penalty coming here. York trying to make something happen. He was stood up and then hauled down. And just another example of Mike York making it happen. Even if he's not getting a shot away, the mere thought that he might lends the opposing team to take a penalty.
He definitely does cause a lot of attention, and you know he's going to be shadowed all game long. they are going to look at him, and they're going to try and drag him down, slow him down. The big joke is Mike York is clutched and grabbed in almost every situation, especially on the ice. And so Conley will have to throw the penalty kill out there right now as Mike York gets dragged down and draws a penalty on the play.
JPVJ in the box at the 4:18 mark. So Michigan State with a power play that really does not represent itself that well. 15% or thereabouts. And see, if you play defense, you can be 7th in an 11-team league on the power play and still end up with the #1 seed. Good now, rolls it behind the net. Adams lets it go around for Horkoff. Horkoff, who had the game-winning goal in the CCHA title game last year. Hutchinson firing, deflected in front. And the glove stopped by Dan Ragaset.
Well, Hutchinson's going to be putting a lot of pucks in the net. The defense for Michigan State is known as a scoring defense because they can put the puck at the net. You see how they line up. They look for that one-time shot, and there you got it, and deflected in front. Actually, I think by their own player for Northern. But the one thing that they like to do, they work the umbrella. Michigan State doesn't have a quote-unquote set power play. They have such talent that they can move it around and work it around enough that when someone finally does get a chance, they're able to take it. Look at Hutchinson, 2 goals on the year, 14 points. Pretty good shot on goal there on the one-timer.
One of the freshmen that have been making an impact for a team that was, as you said, Mike, supposed to be in a down year this year compared to what they were able to get accomplished a season ago. No Chad Albin in net. No Tyler Harleton to stand him up on defense. And a little bit strange to think that once again Michigan State has a defensive player of the year in Mike Weaver. But whereas Tyler Harleton went 6'4", about maybe 215, Mike Weaver is 5'9", maybe a $173. So big or small, Michigan State with that attention to defense is the #1 seed in conference. Shot, save Ragaset as he knocked down the blast by Dolany. Hodgins slides it rink wide. Minute 5 left on the power play. Hodgins faking, passing, Dolany shooting, deflected, and the rebound side of the net. Boy, Ragaset just got a piece of the shot from in close. Buddy Smith, and York was picked. He never did get there to the puck carrier. Down to 45 seconds left on the man advantage for Michigan State. Northern Michigan, by the way, big part of why they beat Notre Dame on the road in the playoff series before this one, the quarterfinals, was they shut down the Irish power play. York behind the net. Drop pass, now they move it over for Hodgins. Slides it back for Kozakowski, 18 on the power play. Here's Dolany, middle of the circle, near side to York. Hodgins shooting, score!
The old one-time shot, you said you're going to see it. They use that umbrella very well. They go high to low. They work the puck from one side of the ice to the other. They're not the kind of team that's just going to overload one side, but here they are. They're moving the puck around, and then they dart it towards the net on the one-time shot, and it just goes through a screen right here in front, and that's all they needed. Hodgins with a blast. Good shot there, set up on the sidewall. I think Dolany and Mike York getting in on the action, but a great job by them working that puck around, making Northern guess at what's going to happen next. A one-time shot, and they lead it 1-0.
His first goal since November 6th. At the 6:06 mark on the power play, Michigan State up 1-0. Andersdorfer for Northern Michigan, and the assist, by the way, on that last goal, York and Dolany. So already Mike York making his presence felt as he gets up to the 50-point mark for the second year in a row. Damon Witten lobs behind the net. And Ragaset will set it up. Northern Michigan has not really been able to get anything done offensively. Like Sandback weaving through and carries it in offsides.
Well, if the Northern Michigan Wildcats are going to be able to do anything, it's going to lay on a lot of the shoulders on Dan Ragaset, the sophomore goaltender. He's posted a 15-9-5 win-loss mark this year, 2.4 goals against. Last year, actually, earned CCHA Defensive Player of the Week honors after stopping 59 of 62 shots.
He could not stop the shot from Brad Hodgins, his second goal of the year on the power play.
What a nice play there, fed up to the top. Just a blast, screen shot, big Adam Hall in front, and he is a pretty big kid. Didn't realize how big he was until I stood next to him at the banquet last night. And he is a big boy, and when you get that kind of size in front of the net, I don't know how anybody can see anything.
And Adam Hall wearing his age on the back of his jersey. They feel like he can still get a little bit bigger.
That scares me.
And you go about 6'3". 12.5 to play, opening period of the opening semifinal game. JP VJ, who was in the box when Michigan State scored. Now Buddy Smith had it picked off, and the Spartans attempt to clear. Bogus couldn't do it. VJ being hounded by Adams, coming back from his wing position. Northern Michigan without a shot in this game, and we have played about 8 minutes. Thoyer's attempt is deflected back and out of play, and the most explosive team offensively in the CCHA being held without a shot and without a score so far.
Van Earl. Right. He's a Fox Sports News anchor, but what he does in his own time is his own damn business. Now you and a friend can take on Van Earl in the Bud Light Bubble Boys National Table Hockey Tournament. Win a tourney at participating Detroit area bars, and you can face off against the Earl of Table Hockey.
There's no stopping this kid.
Play him and you could end up at the Stanley Cup and Bubble Boys Final, plus get a game of your own. Win or lose, check out all the action on Fox Sports News on Fox Sports Detroit.
Domination.
We're over here. 1-0, Michigan State leading Northern Michigan in our first semifinal. A lot of pro scouts are going to be here over the course of the weekend. Phil Muir of the Ottawa Senators taking in a little college hockey. Phil, just talk about the way the level of college hockey has changed. Just say within the last 10 years, because it's really turned out that more and more guys are making that step to the NHL out of college hockey.
Well, certainly many years ago there was no college hockey players that would make the NHL, and progressively over the years there's been more and more players that have made it to the NHL, and now it's a breeding ground for us as scouts and as NHL teams to follow the college hockey, and it's a motivation for Canadian and American hockey players to come in and get an education and at the same time have an opportunity to have a pro career.
Phil, happy hunting. Hope you find what you're looking for. By the way, when I was in 7th grade, I got an A in art class because I drew a picture of Phil Muir when he was playing with the Atlanta Flames. Now there's trivia for you. Back to you guys.
I hope he was making us A.
Congratulations on your A, by the way, Jim. And yeah, Phil Muir, former goalie, has to appreciate what there is on display in this tournament. I don't think it's any coincidence that the 4 teams that have made it here to the semifinals boast the top 4 goalies in the CCHA. But you know, only one of those 4, only one in the entire league, is currently under NHL contract. Only one player has been drafted. Diving check by Mike Weaver. That is the Defensive Player of the Year in the CCHA. And a booming hit on the near side boards. That sent Frateroli down to the ice. We talked about it. Tyler Harleton, more of the big strapping type defenseman. He's now in the pro ranks with the Worcester Ice Cats, the St. Louis Blues top farm team. Mike Weaver looking for his chance in the NHL. He is not drafted, and you got to think that's because of his size, 5'9", 172.
Well, there's something being made about the smaller players in the NHL, and there's been a lot of proof that they can really do the job. Weaver, great job on the poke check, and of course, great defensive play last evening, was awarded the best defensive defenseman. Mike Weaver may not score you 15, 20 goals as a defenseman, but he certainly will help stop plenty of them. And right there, a nice lay down play there, poke check, takes a hit to make the play, gets the puck up the boards again, right back into the play, and that's going to be his forte this evening, as it looks like a couple penalties on the play as well, Josh.
Yeah, they're going to get Ryan Reapy for Northern Michigan, Damon Witten for Michigan State. Coincidental minors here. And the 2 teams will skate for a side. And as long as Mike York is on the ice for Michigan State, that would favor Michigan State. 1-0 Spartans on the goal from Brad Hodgins. That was on the power play at 6:06. At center ice, the Wildcats reload. Tyler Barabanov, he had the game-winning goal in that 3-2 win Sunday to get the Wildcats here. Would you believe that was his only goal of the whole season? And what a time to get it. Good move, but a little poke check. Actually, Kozakowski just stuck out the skate blade. And here comes York one-on-one, trying to shake and bake his way through, but he was ridden away by Sandbeck. York still with it, the captain. Just toying with Northern Michigan for a moment. And finally stripped away. It's a 3-on-2 the other way. Chad Thoyer hauled down. Penalty coming. Andrew Hutchinson cruised in from behind. And Chad Thoyer on the all-rookie team in the CCHA.
Well, the penalty will occur up here as he's dragged down. Players always want to give each other more time because time is something that is a good commodity in hockey. And here's time ragging the puck. Mike York, the puck goes in the corner. Does he just chop it away and give up? No, he still rags the puck. He still has it. He takes that puck, circles around again. He goes for another try. He's looking for someone. He's trying to find someone to pass it to. He's either doing it himself or he's setting something up. Mike York has been so phenomenal this year. One of the finalists for the Hobey Baker Award. And he's going to lead this team if they go anywhere. And you look at the penalty box, starting to get a little fuller. Andrew Hutchinson getting the hooking call.
10:41 the time of it, and now 4-on-3 for a little while. But Michigan State killing off those power plays. They are really elevating that to an art form.
It's quite phenomenal to be to have more shorthanded goals than you do power play goals against you.
Jeff White shooting, and Blackburn, his first tough save of the game. It was then cranked out of there by Mike Weaver. What a terrific presence by Weaver just to shuttle it down ice.
Well, it forces a player to shoot earlier, and that's what happened there. He may have wanted more time, but Weaver forces him to shoot it, and then a great save by Joe Blackburn, and another penalty.
Got a tripping call coming here at 11:18.
Well, that will certainly even it up. In 5 seconds, you're going to see a couple players come out of the box. Those are the even up calls earlier on. And in a minute 23, the Michigan State Spartans will be on the power play. But it'll be some pretty good room out there for the next little while. Here's the penalty. It's going to be right up at the top of your screen. You saw it could be called interference, but it was called tripping. Here's the save earlier on, and Mike Weaver doing a good job. Coming into the play there, Horkoff taking his man in front of the net, but there weren't any options. There weren't any backdoor options because Weaver was taking his man, Horkoff was taking his man in front. All that left was a shot, and of course we've seen Joe Blackburn handle those all year.
Well, here we are 4-on-4 for a while as Sean Horkoff goes back in his own end. Spartans up 1-0. They won this semifinal match last year against Northern Michigan 5-1. With 5 third-period goals. The exact same pairings we had last year. Northern Michigan and Michigan State in the opener will follow with Ohio State and Michigan in the nightcap. In this one, 1-0 State.
Heard the news there was a non-prescription medicine, Excedrin migraine, proven to relieve migraine headache pain. Did I believe it? No, not really. But after trying just about everything else, I figured, what the heck? So I tried Excedrin migraine. You know what? It relieves migraine pain. Do I expect you to believe it? No. Not until you try it.
Excedrin migraine, the only non-prescription medicine approved for migraine pain relief.
Ron Mason's team leading at 1-0. We invite you to get warmed up for the 1999 baseball season. Spring training action with the Tigers and the world champion Yankees. Grapefruit League action from Lakeland Thursday night at 7 on Fox Sports Detroit. Kirk Gibson back in the booth, and his alma mater doing just fine so far here. They've given up only 2 shots on goal. They lead the game 1-0. Bouncing puck played like a shortstop over there by Joe Blackburn, and Joe Blackburn, in fact, a 2-year letterman on the baseball team at Livonia Churchill High School, not too far from where we're playing this game today.
And he comes into this game with a 17-game unbeaten streak. He posted Michigan State's first CCHA tournament shutout since 1985 in shutting out Lake Superior State last Saturday 4-0. And that propelled them into this game right here.
He got the award last night at the CCHA Banquet 4 Goalie of the Year, but he did not get named to a first-team All-Conference last week. That honor went to Jeff Mond of Ohio State.
You may ask,
look out, score! Blackburn made the initial stop. It bounced over his stick, over the line, and we are tied at 1.
Well, he was clearly fooled on that one. It's a kind of shot you don't expect to go in. I don't even think that Tyson Hawley thought it was going to go in. The shot will come through a screen, looks pretty harmless, and that's, you know what happens when a goaltender, and he is a southpaw, which doesn't have that much to do with it except on the side that he stopped it on. When a goaltender reaches with a stick, sometimes it catches the inside of the paddle, and that's what it did there. As he stretched out to make the save, the puck will hit the inside part of the shaft of his goal stick right there, and then it'll go back towards the net instead of out towards the corner like he wants to do. It'll hit the inside part of his stick. Keep an eye on the puck as he reaches, and that is an unfortunate play for him. And it's a great play for Northern. That's why he always put the puck on the net, I suppose.
Tyson Hawley, who had 2 goals in that series against Notre Dame, now has his 3rd goal of the playoffs. And still playing 4-on-4 hockey. We are tied at 1 in the first period. 12:18, the time of the goal from the junior Tyson Hawley. Adam Hall now for Michigan State. And Connolly, by the way, the lone assist on the Hawley goal. Kozakowski lines it up. Booms it on net. Ragaset makes the stop and then surrounds it with 7:01 left opening period.
Well, Northern Michigan's penalty kill played a big role, as you mentioned earlier, in last week's win. They ranked 4th in the nation, in penalty kill behind Michigan State, Army, New Hampshire at an 87% kill rate. The shot will come, and you see the goaltender Ragaset is really deep in his net. I think that's because of the screen that they're seeing in front. Good job by Michigan State. They're getting a lot of their players to screen that goaltender Ragaset, and by doing so, I think he's a little less comfortable playing out of his net, and Michigan State may take advantage of that later on, but a good save nevertheless as he picked the puck up coming through the crowd.
Brief power play for Michigan State. Here's Hodgins. He's already got a goal today. Gives to Kozakowski, looking for a little bit of room. Hodgins, why not try it again? He did it again!
Well, I just said they're going to take advantage of it. I just didn't realize they were going to do it so soon. A nice play. This time it was generated from the other side of the ice, but it's the same man who puts the puck in the net. Good play by Kozakowski by taking it down to the hash marks, then just a blast. The screenshot, look where Ragaset is. Ragaset's right on his goal line. You cannot do that in any league. A good play by Kozakowski, though, playing that puck. Just a blast. It may have hit Horkoff in front, I'm not sure, but it definitely goes in the net, as it's a good, hard shot. What a nice play there.
Looked like it got either the post or Horkoff. But Brad Hodgins, who had only 1 goal all season, now has 2, and here's his steal. Gooden now in alone. He shoots and was stonewalled. Ragaset is shoved back into the net, but no goal, even though Ragaset and the puck were both careening towards the back of the mesh.
Well, there again, Michigan State is very deadly right after they've scored a goal. They do not relent. They come right back at you. And let's look at that goal again, because it's interesting. A good play. The puck will come down the boards, but he throws it back up. What he does is he brings all the Northern Michigan guys down, and Ragaset is right on his goal line. That's why they scored the goal. You drag the players down by taking the puck low. Then you fire the puck back up high. There's no one left to cover, and a good shot by Hodgins.
Now last year, that guy, Mr. Bogle, had a pair of goals for Michigan State in the game against Northern Michigan. And he was perhaps the least likely man to get 2 goals in a game. He got them. And there's another goal. A tip-in in front. It is 3-1 Michigan State. What were you saying about throw it on net and take your chances?
Well, it seems to have worked this evening, twice for sure. The other 2 were pretty good, well-earned goals, if you will. But just right off the face-off, and another shot towards a crowd. Oh, that was deflected right there. My. Nice goal by Adam Hall, who tips that in. And that was a great deflection. So throw it on net, get a good deflection. And Adam Hall will just skate into the picture, and Raguset really no chance on that one. Mike York finishes it off, but the puck, I believe, had already crossed the goal line. 3-1, Michigan State.
If indeed it's Hall's goal, it will be his 14th of the year and 4th of the playoffs. He had 2 in a 38-second span against Lake State last weekend in the game that finished off the Lakers. A penalty coming here as Thoyer was dropped right along the Fox Sports News billboard over there, right in front of Olbermann.
Yeah, he almost knocked Olbermann, too.
Olbermann's about the only guy that hasn't scored in this game so far.
I think that Adam Hall's original shot hit the post. It may very well be Mike York's goal. The shot will be taken. It comes across. You see that off the post. I think it is Mike York's goal, unless it went in the net on the other side. But I can't see it hitting the post the way it did if it didn't go in. So I think Mike York will get that goal.
I think you're right.
And I'm not surprised. He's right around the net, opportunistic, chips that one in, and it's 3-1. But they're killing a penalty right now, which may be to their advantage.
Well, initially they said a Hall for that 3rd goal for Michigan State. But you're right, after looking at the replay, it probably will end up being York's 22nd. And we'll break the string of everybody with a last name starting with H scoring in this hockey game. Hodgins, then Holly, then Hodgins again. And instead of Hall, it would appear it would be Mike York's goal at 13:30. Michigan State trying to kill off another power play, and they've just been doing that better than anybody in the NCAA all year.
They've done such a great job that they actually, when they're out penalized, they actually win more games. They're 5-1-1 when they have more penalties than the opposition, which is just not I guess a free rein to go take penalties, but it definitely shows you how good their penalty kill and basically their defensive play is.
Well, it takes the pressure off. If you've got a lead, you can still be aggressive. If you know that your team has killed off its last 38 power plays, which they have now, and you're killing off 93% or so of them for the year, well, go ahead. And the worst thing that happens to you is you sit for 2 minutes and you get to enjoy watching your teammates play some great hockey and kill it off. Chris Bogus couldn't clear. Drop pass coming around now. White blasting, and he just missed on the short side. Northern Michigan with 15 seconds left on the man advantage. Side of the net. Mitro was looking forward and never got through to him. Hodgins diving down. Boy, he's scored a couple goals in this game. He's blocked a couple shots. And we showed you Andrew Bogle a little bit earlier. We started to tell the story of last year's game between Michigan State and Northern Michigan. The Friday late afternoon game, the first semifinal. It was Bogle who surprised everybody by netting a couple. Well, today it's been a Hodgins, and the second goal, a carbon copy of the first. That power play slapper.
Well, give him the puck if he's hot, and he certainly is. A couple great shots. And he has his team leading this one 3-1.
Power play winding down. Michigan State up 3-1. And they've gotten to 3 goals on one of the hotter goalies in the league. Dan Raguset was the reason Northern Michigan advanced to this point. Side of the net. Knocked out of there by Kozakowski, and here comes Michigan State 2-on-2. Brian Adams trying to drop it into the slot. York takes over. And the Wildcats looking to clear. They will bounce it free to the red line where Weaver skates back. Looking for some icing, and we've got it with 3:26 remaining in the first period of the first semifinal. Michigan State by a couple.
The car. The competition can't touch it, can't even come close. Intrigue by Oldsmobile. Grabbing attention in Metro Detroit like no other. Now with the best lease offer ever, it's a value no one can top, no one can stop. Just $235 a month for GM employees and qualified family members. That's $235. So before your current lease expires, test drive Intrigue and experience sophistication and savings at your Greater Detroit Oldsmobile dealer.
Fans, we invite you to find out who's the best in the CCHA. The tournament continues tomorrow night. The championship game at 7:30 here at the Joe. Catch all the action as the best in the CCHA battle for this year's title. And you can still get your seats at the Joe Louis Arena box office up till game time.
And that banner that you saw hanging there is the GLI banner that Michigan State earned this year. It's the first time this building's ever had a college banner hanging in it. But, well, at least official banners. A lot of people bring their own, as you see all around this evening for both teams. But that's the first official one. And that will be replaced every year by the winning team of the GLI tournament. Another penalty on the play. Petrosky calling it pretty tight to the vest here. And you look right in the middle of your screen. A little too much hooking and not enough skating on that play. Borkoff will get the call, and guess who he's dragging down? No, none other than Buddy Smith, a tough guy to catch, and that's probably why he had the hook on him a little bit. Buddy Smith is the kind of player that you don't want to let get up the ice too far. He leads the team in points for Northern and assists, and he's on pace to become the first ever player to lead Northern Michigan in assists for 3 straight seasons. He leads it by quite a bit, so I don't think he's in jeopardy of not getting that mark.
Mike York hounding Mike Sandbeck as Michigan State just yawns, shrugs its shoulders, and gets set to kill off yet another 2-minute power play. They've got 13 shorthanded goals this year. They have allowed only 12 on the power play. But again, Northern Michigan with what passes for a high-octane offense in what is a defensive-minded league. 3-1 right now. And we remind you that the next Red Wings action on Fox Sports Detroit is Wednesday. Dominic Hasek and the Buffalo Sabres are in. Coverage begins at 7 with the pregame show hosted by John Keating. And Ken and Mickey called the game at 7:30. The Wings and the Sabres on Fox Sports Detroit.
And that'll be interesting. Dominic Hasek just coming off that groin injury that he's been out with for so long. So it's always a different team when you play with Dominic Hasek.
And his flop-around style is being mirrored in net by the Michigan State netminder. That's Joe Blackburn. Not what you'd call orthodox, but when you've got a goals against average of 1.3, nobody going to fight you on it.
No, they always...
Look out! Make it a 1.4 goals against average. And every single time we think there's just a nothing play, something develops. There have been 5 goals in this game.
The reason we know that is because I've stood on you twice when you're trying to call a goal. First of all, a harmless shot in the zone, or what we thought was a goal, and now a play that results to a pass in the front on the guy on the back door, and it's another goal. The quick plays by Northern are what's getting it done, and Buddy Smith obviously involved on that play. A good little chip to the bottom side of the net and right back out. It's the quick passing Roger Trudeau from, I think, JPVJ in the corner that gets it done. That's how you're going to beat Michigan State, or at least beat them on certain plays, is by getting the puck moving quick. And I said, you know, it's going to be that kind of night, I suppose, where it's going to be the quick play that's going to win the game, maybe.
This is remarkable. We talked about how hot Ragaset has been in net for Northern Michigan, and Blackburn has been a stonewall all year for Michigan State. But what is going on out there? A 3-2 first period score. The last time these two teams met, it was a little closer to the script. 1-1 was the final in OT. A combined 70 shots in that game, and only 2 of them went in. Well, we've seen 17 shots in this game, and 5 of them have snuck in behind 2 pretty good goalies.
Each of them probably letting in a goal that they maybe normally wouldn't have.
Connolly, glove save by Blackburn. And now perhaps we can begin to follow what we thought we might see here tonight. Witten starting to get into it in front. Ryan Phillips was involved for Northern Michigan. Well, Michigan State, this team with the remarkable defense this year, they've allowed 2 goals or fewer in 28 of their last 30 games. But here they are, they've allowed 2 goals in the first period tonight.
Well, and I think the first one is something that doesn't happen very often. The next one was a good quick one. A good shot, glove save there. And the battle in front, you will see the battle continue in front. You have Bogle there. And on that play as well, Chris Bogus. Chris Bogus, of course, we're talking about in this game with a cast on his arm. Just getting real tough in front of their goaltender. They don't want to expose Joe Blackburn any more than they have to. Not that he won't stop the puck, but that's called just a game plan. You don't want to open yourself up or open the game up too much. We have a 3-2 score, 5 goals in this first period, and that's not really the makings of a MSU style of game.
Well, Blackburn coming in against Northern Michigan had allowed only 3 goals all year in 4 games played against them.
Well, if you look at these two teams, Northern Michigan versus Michigan State, that puts the CCHA's #1 offense versus the CCHA's #1 defense. Wildcats lead the CCHA in overall goals per game, while the Spartans are the conference's as well as the nation's #1 ranked defense at 1.31 goals per game coming into this evening. So it's offense versus defense, and right now there's a lot of offense. Michigan State has 1 more goal, of course, but 5 goals in 1 period is a very offensive period.
Quick shot, Blackburn, a good stop on Trudeau, rebound, Sandbeck blasting away. And it was Kozakowski down to make one of his patented blocks, the defenseman sliding in front. And that prevented Blackburn from having to make his 2nd point-blank stop in a row, but the first one that he made was terrific.
Well, it was kind of a down-and-out play. A couple good shots. It created a scramble in front. And what has to happen here is a defensive play like he makes. Good save there on the doorstep. But then the big blast is coming, and there he is. He has blocked more shots than I've seen some goalies block. And what a great play there by Kozakowski again. Nice save in front, though. That's one thing that Northern is doing very well, and that is getting their players in position in front of the net and getting open. There's not a lot of room, obviously, in front of the net. So being able to get free and do something away from the puck, getting yourself open for a chance, they've done that a couple times. One of them has resulted in a goal.
Only the 2nd time all year that Michigan State has allowed 2 goals in the first period. And were it not for Kozakowski diving around right there, it might have been 3 goals for Northern Michigan. Connolly faked the shot, then had to backhand it in deep looking for VJ. Minute 20 left in the period as Blackburn knocks it down the side of the net. JP VJ being hounded from behind. Here's Buddy Smith back for Connolly. His shot never got through traffic. Adams leads a 3-on-2 the other way. Mike York has Hall with him on side. Mike York shooting, hit the side of the net, and the rebound went through the crease. Under a minute to go. Hodgins back to control the puck, and the way this game has gone, why not? Let Hodgins have the first period pure hat trick. Kozakowski's shot, glove save. With 44.5 seconds left in the first period. And the freshman Adam Hall was dumped. It is Hodgins who's got a couple of goals for Michigan State after scoring all of 1 goal in the first 39 games of the year.
39 Northern, cross-checking after the whistle. Announce it that way.
All right, we'll announce it that way.
Cross-checking after the whistle.
Thank you very much.
last rush by Michigan State almost created a goal, and Mike York will center the puck off of the pads of Raguset, and there's the rebound. Hall, a big man as we talked about, good long reach there, reaches around the defender and just puts it off the knob of Raguset's stick. A good save in itself. A shot save rebound situation, that's quite typical of where goals are scored, because a goaltender's made the save and is either out of position down or just out of position, period. And Raguset got back down there and blocked that rebound shot, but penalties on the play, as we mentioned.
Well, the power play for Michigan State has been very good so far. And here they go again with Hodgins again at the point. Remember, he's got the 2 power play goals on a couple of slap shots from right between the circles. By the way, coming up at intermission, we'll be talking with Rick Comley, the coach of the Northern Michigan Wildcats. We'll also take a look back at last night's CCHA Awards banquet, hosted by the birthday boy, Ken Daniels. Rustin Dolany, as the period winds down towards its close. Hodgins was stretching out, couldn't contain it. Now a 2-on-2 shorthanded rush the other way. Radaroli's shot deflected up off the windows. And that is going to bring the first period to an end. It was a 5-goal first period. We thought we might see 5 goals in the game total. But the scoring got started at 6:06. Brad Hodgins, his second of the year. Mike York with that assist. Got to 50 points overall this season. Tyson Holly tied it on a bobble in net by the Michigan State goalie Joe Blackburn. Hodgins again, his second of the game, his third of the season. Kozakowski picked up the assist on the power play. Then Mike York, as he poked it in after the Adam Hall shot hit the post. John Insana's first career point on the other assist. And then Roger Trudeau just making something happen off the feed from VJ. Buddy Smith picking up his CCHA best 34th assist. And at 17:42, the lead got chopped down to 1. We will catch our breath. Jim Blaney is standing by with the Northern Michigan coach Rick Comley. His team trails by a goal after 1.
Players have above average intelligence.
Judging by angle of trajectory and factoring in x plus y equals z over pi, this should be a goal.
Most college hockey fans also have above average intelligence. Of course, we did grade on a curve. Go! Come see college kids use their heads as Sprint PCS presents the CCHA Championship at the Joe March 19th and 20th. Get tickets now.
Who said less is more?
More is more.
You get more for the money. Save more every day. More for it, honey. Now you can get the big extra $2.99 extra value meal every day at McDonald's. And it comes with large fries and a medium Coke. Hey, what more could you ask for?
Sprint is creating a world of unlimited possibilities. A world where time and distance don't matter anymore. Call 1-800-PIN-DROP now and switch to Sprint Unlimited. Introducing Sprint Unlimited, the only way to get unlimited calling every Saturday, every Sunday, all weekend long for just $25 a month. And your weekday calls are just $0.10 a minute. Anytime, anywhere. Come live in a world created around you. A world where weekends never end. Because only Sprint Unlimited gives you unlimited calling every weekend. And every weekday call is just $0.10 a minute. If you make over an hour of calls each weekend, you could save by switching to Sprint Unlimited. Call 1-800-PIN-DROP now for unlimited ways to save on long distance and leave the past behind. Sprint ahead.
Going deep for the whole story.
Scandal, cheating, bribery.
Going deep behind the headlines.
Yeah, I have a drinking problem.
The sports show that reveals what's really going on.
Sometimes I compare this to the drug war.
Informed, in-depth, inside.
Sold for $2,700,000.
We cover and uncover the sports world like no one else.
That's all Yankee stuff?
Chris Myers is going deep. Sunday nights at 9 on Fox Sports Net. Sabres Wings, Wednesday at 7 on Fox Sports Detroit.
Our first semifinal, end of one period of play. Michigan State leading Northern Michigan by a score of 3-2. We are joined downstairs by Northern Michigan head coach Rick Comley. I can remember sitting with you after 2 periods of hockey earlier this year in East Lansing, and neither team could score. Now we get 5 goals in 1 period. I guess just weird things happen when you get into playoff hockey.
They were different goals. I think 2 of their 3 went off the post and in through an awful lot of traffic in front, and then we got a very lucky first goal that I think he knocked in, then a power play goal. We're lucky to be in it right now, but we played very, very nervous. You know, who knows for why, but started to settle down towards the end.
Let's take a look at that first goal, Rick. And you mentioned it's a lucky goal, but obviously you take them any way you can. But I would have to imagine this is a kind of goal, especially after Michigan State got the early one, that you get your guys saying, you know what, we can play with these guys.
Well, you have to play well. We knew that coming in. They're too good to have an average game against them. They came out strong and won some battles, and the Tyson goal that we just saw there was a big one, and then this very nice play in a power play here.
Talk about when you were here for the GLI in December, because looking back over the record that Northern Michigan has had, you lost here in the GLI, and then really from that point on, you guys went on a pretty good tear and had a pretty consistent season. What changed after we saw you here right after Christmas?
I don't know if anything changed. You know, sometimes you settle in and start to play pretty well, and we had a great stretch where we only lost 1 game in about a dozen, and then we're playing very well, lost 2 defensemen against Western Michigan in the last weekend of the year, and have been a little bit patchy since, but obviously had a great weekend last weekend at Notre Dame.
Rick, thanks for your time. Appreciate it. Good luck in the second and third periods and all weekend for that matter of fact. Rick Comley, our guest here during the first intermission, his Northern Michigan Wildcats trailing Michigan State by a score of 3-2 after 20 minutes of play.
Sorry, that's mine.
See the Rockers ride out the Milwaukee Wave on Sunday, March 21st at 3 p.m.
The Rockers, Detroit's other great team, sharing the joke.
It was a lucky shot.
Will features like voicemail work when I travel?
Let me ask my supervisor. Hello! Well, that all depends. If you're traveling from Zone A to Zone B, or B to C, or E to F, or S to D, or B to D to Q, or A to C to M D, or J to G.
Sprint PCS works the same wherever you go. On the nation's only 100% digital, 100% PCS network built from the ground up. Plus, you get the new free and clear plan, including free long distance.
Hey, thanks.
Hi. Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
This is what they came for. Red Wing fans get the latest in Red Wings action from this season and last with the 1998-99 Red Wings CD-ROM yearbook. It's all here. The big goals, saves, and hits.
Dad, you should hear what Eisman says about being captain.
Do all the little things right.
My favorite is the banner raising ceremony. Red Wings CD-ROM yearbook on sale at Harmony House, Best Buy, Meijer, and Joe Louis Arena, or call 1-800-WINGS-25.
Sam and Margaret are living a comfortable retirement, a retirement free of financial worry. They live the life they want to live, spend the money they want to spend. And it's all because you left your credit card statement in the garbage can and they stole your number. So from Sam and Margaret, thank you.
Prevent credit card theft with the paper shredder from Office Depot. Office Depot, low prices every day.
Boredom? Here at Northern? No, that's not a problem. For one thing, there are so many places to learn, and not just in the classroom either. I work with an adult fitness program that fits into my health and fitness management major. I also spend a lot of my time in group activities, which is part of my leadership experience. When I have some free time, one of the best ski areas in the state is just minutes from campus. No, I'm never bored. There's no time for it.
Northern Naturally.
The greatest lawns of America have a look, a feel that can come from only one place.
It's good to touch the green, green grass of home.
True Green Chem Lawn, where the grass is always greener. For a free lawn analysis, call us today.
About the last thing anybody expected in this first semifinal was a high-scoring game, but that's exactly what we have. Michigan State leading Northern Michigan by a score of 3-2. All four of these teams advanced to Joe Louis Arena by sweeping their series last weekend in the quarterfinals. That is, except for the Northern Michigan Wildcats, who played an epic series on the road against the Notre Dame Fighting Irish. Serene Saski has more.
Joe Louis Arena, the latest stop on the road to the CCHA's Final Four. Northern Michigan, Michigan State, Ohio State, and Michigan have arrived, yet each team took a different path to get here. With the 2-1 series upset over Notre Dame, Northern Michigan advanced to the CCHA semifinals for the second straight season since rejoining the league 2 years ago. Brian Phillips tallied 2 goals in Game 2. And in Game 3, junior defenseman Tyler Barabanov scored the series-clinching goal midway through the third period, his first goal of the season. Dan Ragaset stopped 87 shots over the weekend for a .935 save percentage. That performance earned him CCHA Defensive Player of the Week. After a shaky win in Game 1, Michigan State took control in Game 2 and swept Lake Superior State in the quarterfinals. Freshman Adam Hall led the Spartans' attack with 3 goals and an assist, including 2 goals in Game 2, a record 38 seconds apart.
Well, tonight, honestly, it was a total team effort. Yesterday, it seemed like, the work habits of the whole team was lacking, and today, we just decided, we were going to make it, effort. Everybody come out, back each other up and make a real team effort, get back to work habits, get back to basics.
Team captain Mike York had 3 assists and a goal in an emotional final weekend at Munn.
When there was about a minute left and they were singing the fight song, I actually had tears in my eyes. It's been a great 4 years here, and just to look around at the crowd, they've been so supportive of the program, and I've had a great time here.
The Buckeyes swept Ferris State with 2 2-goal victories. Goalie Jeff Mon was red hot, stopping all but 3 of the 62 shots he faced. Ohio State trailed 1-0 entering the third period of Game 2, but All-American Hugo Boisvert lit the lamp twice. Ryan Skaleski added another as the Buckeyes recorded their first back-to-back 20-win seasons in 15 years. The defending national champion Michigan Wolverines had an unlikely hero in their series sweep of Bowling Green. Bobby Hayes' 3 goals and an assist earned him CCHA Offensive Player of the Week. His 3 goals matched his season total.
He's one of my roommates, and he catches a little bit of flack from us, but it's something that he worked hard all season long. He wasn't a different player this year from last year. It's just that the pucks weren't going in the net for him. So you knew that he would break out of his shell sometime, and this is a perfect time for him to do that.
Mike Comrie added a goal and 3 assists. His 4-point performance was the best by a Michigan freshman since Rob Gordon in 1995. Next up, Ohio State. The Wolverines once owned the Buckeyes with an unbeaten streak of 31 games. But times have changed, and Ohio State hasn't lost to Michigan in 4 games.
Ohio State is a much better team now, and I think their team has found out what it takes to win. They have more talent, certainly are playing more like a team that wants to win. They have a goalie that gives them a chance every night, and I think that team now is a legitimate contending team, whereas years ago they weren't.
If these CCHA semifinalists seem familiar, they are. This is the same group as last year, and that hasn't happened in nearly 2 decades.
And keep in mind, there's more on the line here than just a CCHA championship. Michigan and Michigan State in the NCAAs, Northern Michigan and Ohio State need a good showing this weekend. Back with more after this.
We're Penn and Teller, and we do serious theater. Okay, so there are card tricks. Maybe you don't think a bunny rabbit is serious theater. But we're also going to be using firearms. And that may not be theater, but that's serious. Penn and Teller, live. Live! At least for now.
Don't miss Penn and Teller, coming to Detroit's Music Hall this Tuesday through Sunday only.
Come experience the magic of Kuwaitan casinos. Make Kuwaitan your northern destination. Enjoy Las Vegas-styled casino action, including craps, roulette, and $100,000 live keno. Try your luck from over 1,000 slot machines with progressive jackpots, or enjoy the comfort of one of our 300 hotel rooms. Kuwaitan means north and so much more.
Today, I was part of the team. People were counting on me
To get the job done.
In the U.S. Navy, every job is important. Right now, we have over 50,000 exciting jobs available. Jobs that can give you the skills you need to really make a difference. Call 1-800-USA-NAVY now for your free video, The Journey of a Lifetime, and see what it's like working in some of the Navy's hottest fields, like nuclear engineering, aviation mechanics, and computer electronics. The Navy can open a world of opportunities to you. You can get up to $50,000 for college, earn college credit while you serve, and even receive a sign-on bonus. We'll bring out the best in you and help you to grow and succeed. Call now for your free video.
I'm only 20 years old. I'm in charge of a $32 million piece of equipment.
And find out how you can make it happen.
Today, I made it happen.
Now you can too. Call 1-800-USA-NAVY and let the journey begin.
Yes, we're here in the pavilion at Manhattan Beach, and you're looking at Christy Ellison. She's up now in the 10th frame.
Needs 2 strikes to win the match. Just like that, she got a great break, a crossover, but she'd like to have this final strike.
And she was striking a bunch in practice.
Well, she has to be disappointed. Did not throw a good shot, and she ends up with a very difficult spare.
Can you imagine that?
You're watching Fox Sports Detroit.
Die Yoopers have come down from Marquette, Michigan to root on Northern Michigan. And the Wildcats hanging with the #3 team in the nation, the #1 seed in this conference final, Michigan State. However, we've got a power play situation right now as we open the second period. Michigan State looking to build the lead. Mike Sandbeck is still in the box. He was whistled late in that first period. A penalty-filled first period, 24 minutes total. But Mike York had a goal and an assist. Brad Hodgins a couple of goals for the Michigan State Spartans. And a rising slap shot handled by Joe Blackburn sets it up now for Kozakowski. Michigan State 2 for 2 so far with the man advantage. Again, those Hodgins power play goals. Rustin Dolany weaving his way through traffic, had it poked away. And the Wildcats with 24 seconds left on the penalty, able to slide it down ice.
Well, you can see the importance of specialty teams obviously already in this tournament and in the playoffs in general. The 3 out of 5 goals in that first period are power play markers.
And another one with a 4-on-4 skating situation. 21 shots total in that first period. 13 for Michigan State. As we now play even strength hockey again. The Spartans in the white sweaters. Here they come left to right. Patchell trying to fight through. Witten hauled down. Ragaset had it, lost it. It's in the net. But immediately it is waved off. Steve Petrowski said the whistle had already blown. And as they continue to scrap, Mark Loading getting into it in front. He and Sean Connolly got the sticks raised. We do have the whistle. We've played 1:29 in the second period.
Well, Sean Patchell, who was in the mix of that fray, actually leads Michigan State in penalties. He has 36 penalties. Make it another one here, but he was in there physical, driving in there looking for something to happen. A good little drop pass. Sean Mather will just try and force that at the net, and then Patchell will get in there pushing and shoving. The puck does slide through, and I don't know whether it went in the net immediately, but the whistle was blown. A good hit there, and Patchell comes in following the play. They jam away at it, and yes, it does slide through there, so I just wonder when the whistle went. Here's what it sounds like. Let's listen. Oh, it blew just as it was going over the line, so regardless, we don't have a goal there, but we did have some penalties. Some coincidentals looks like going to be called, and there's some explanations now being given to both team captains, Mike York and also Lee Ruff.
We mentioned it was a physical first period, and the 24 penalty minutes total. I don't know about you, Mike, but the one thing that I'm looking at is those blocked shots. Michigan State was 7 of them from their defensemen in that first period.
No, and that's, you know what, that is a lot. Usually they average just around 10 or more, but they're definitely on pace, if not ahead of pace, and that's no surprise to me, the amount of shots that Michigan State blocks. And you see penalty minutes even, but like I said before, let's check out this number. 1 for 3 and 2 for 2. Power plays being very big in that first period, and that's why we have the score that we do.
Hitting after the whistle penalties being called here at 1:29. Mitro and Connolly go for Northern Michigan. It'll be Loading and Patchell for Michigan State. So some of the bruisers, after they are done bruising, will be in the box for a little bit.
Just definitely bringing in the physical element. And you know what, with last year, these teams playing against each other, it's definitely, it's got to be considered a payback for Northern to want to come in here and win. That's motivation. Obviously, motivation for Michigan State is to keep their dominance alive in the CCHA, and then hopefully onward into the NCAA tournament. Keep in mind that Michigan State has already won a berth in the NCAA tournament, and it's the other teams here that are trying to win I guess you'd call it kind of a buy into it by virtue of a win. The regular season champion and the tournament champion both get a bid.
A steal. Horkoff just missed on the near side. He picked it off and almost was able to make it 4-2 in a heartbeat. Now the other way, Chad Thoyer trying to work around Hodgen. Phillips was cruising towards the net. They couldn't find him, and Michigan State able to clear. Now you look at the pairwise, kind of the RPI computer rankings. You do the math, and right now Ohio State, Michigan, and Northern Michigan are all right on the cusp of whether or not they will get in. The pairwise rankings find Ohio State at number 11. And there are 12 teams, remember, that get in to the NCAA tournament. Well, right now, after Ohio State, which will play Michigan after this game is done, it is Michigan at number 12, and this Northern Michigan team at number 13. So right after Ohio State, it is Michigan and Northern Michigan, the two teams that we'll also see in this tournament.
And here's what they consider the RPI. It's done by percentages on who you play and how you win, and we'll get back to that in a second. But there are more than just one criteria that determine who those extra teams go into the NCAA tournament. And it's not just done by that chicken that picks Super Bowl wins. It's done a little more seriously than that, and that will be decided tomorrow, Sunday, March 21st, by the committee.
Those pairwise are important, though. And Northern Michigan needing a win. They don't have to win the whole dang thing, but they do at least have to get by Michigan State, you figure. On the near wing now, this is the centering pass coming from Roger Trudeau. It never quite made it through to JP VJ. Buddy Smith back to corral it. And that front line of Trudeau, VJ, and Buddy Smith, as advertised, has been very good in this hockey game so far. Tyler Barabanov bats it up the near wing, but we've got an arm in the air from Steve Petrowski. We've got a penalty coming. 16:45 left, second period.
Features like voicemail work when I travel?
Let me ask my supervisor. Hello! Wow! That all depends. If you're traveling from Zone A to Zone B, or B to C, or E to F, or S to D, or B to D to Q, or A to C and M to E, or J to G.
Sprint PCS works the same wherever you go. On the nation's only 100% digital, 100% PCS network built from the ground up. Plus, you get the new free and clear plan, including free long distance.
Hey, thanks.
Hi.
Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
Well, Kevin Schmidt goes to the box at 3:15. They're getting him for the hook.
There's where the infraction will occur, and he hooks up as he's holding up for a play. And as he holds up for the play, he gets the hooking call. So Michigan State, once again, will see the power play. Power plays, obviously, as we mentioned, becoming a very big factor in this game, especially in a one-goal game such as this.
And Northern Michigan, not a team that has done a lot of rallying this year. In fact, they've won only one game all season when trailing it after the first period of play. 13-2 when they're ahead after one, but 1-6-2 when they're behind after that first period. Horkoff side of the net, centering pass picked off, and Frateroli leads the short-handed rush for the Cats. Brad Frateroli just lobs it on net, and again a long rebound coughed up by Joe Blackburn. Out to center, Brian Adams, and it banks back into the slot. Paul was reaching for it. Contained now by Hutchinson. Witten behind the net. Back out to Adams, high slot, slap shot, deflected off behind the cage, and Horkoff reaches out to take it. Adams trying to go rink wide, and it bounces free. Damon Witten took a hack at it. 1:13 left on the power play. Michigan State already leading this semifinal game 3-2. Rink wide once again. The wrist shot saved by Raguset. Witten tried to throw it in front and hit the side of the net. Back it comes. Goodenhout slapper whistles over top. Now Horkoff on his backhand. 53 seconds left on the power play. Horkoff behind the net for Witten. Looking in front. Instead it goes back for the freshman Andrew Hutchinson. Horkoff waiting. Shot coming. Deflected, and Raguset corrals it. He will have the faceoff with 36 seconds left on the power play.
Another good one-time shot from the point, and it creates a pretty good scuffle in front of the net. A lot of their plays are coming off the one-time shot, and a good block in front there. Lee Ruff, I believe, the captain, going down to make that block. Lee Ruff right there to make the play. Surpassed his career high this year for assists in a season. He has 1 goal, 8 assists in the 38 games that he has played in. Serving as Northern Michigan's captain this year. Good block shot there as Michigan State, as I said, just working that one-time shot from the point, and that's something you may see Northern change as they play maybe one of their forwards a little bit higher on that penalty kill.
York swivels free, and now the puck able to come back for Kozakowski. 25 seconds left on the man advantage. York to the slot. Kozakowski shooting, hit a leg in front, rebound. They jam for it in the crease, and out in front of the crease, it was tied up long enough for the draw.
This game getting very physical by both teams. Kozakowski with a chance there from the slot. Just can't get it through the traffic that's in front of the net. A lot of that traffic actually created by Michigan State. The feed right out to the slot. He's all alone, and it's actually blocked as they jam away at it. But they have a lot of drive into the front of the net. Some physical stuff after the play. Punch in the face here, cross check there, and it's going to be a physical game as it goes on. It is a very tight game, though, so each team's got to be careful as to not be the one to take a penalty that may cost their team.
One last charge up ice on the power play for Michigan State. On sides, John Nail tripped up. 5-on-5 hockey again. Mike York, who's now got an 8-game point scoring streak. He was held, and the Wildcats able to steer it out to center ice. Sean Connolly offsides as he brings it in across the blue line.
Well, today marks the 33rd anniversary for Michigan State's first NCAA hockey championship, way back in 1966 when the Spartans defeated Clarkson 6-1 on March 19th in Minneapolis. Ron Mason would love to take his team to the Final Four this year. He's done it before in '84. He won the NCAAs in that year. He'd like to do it again here in '99.
Could it be that Michigan State gets the hoops and the hockey into the Final Four? That's only happened once for a hockey team and a basketball team to do it in the same year. Michigan in '92 and '93, and actually way back in '64 as well.
They've never reached the championship game, though, in the same season. As you mentioned, happened kind of a rare thing.
There's a rarity, too. Weaver was trying to chip it out the near side. He clanged it off the back of the net, and it stays in the zone. Ryan Phillips forechecking for the Wildcats. There are a lot of people that believe the Spartans are going to be in the Final Four in hockey. Can't find many arguments about the basketball team up East Lansing way these days, but either way, you see a lot of white flags with a green S flying around the state of Michigan right about now.
That's the one thing about this format, though. It lends to a lot of surprises. The one game, now not this particular tournament here, but when you get to the NCAA regionals, it becomes one game elimination, and there's no second chances. Of course, if Michigan State were to somehow lose this tournament here, they still would make a berth in the NCAAs as they've guaranteed themselves by winning the regular season. But as you say, it's very critical.
Quick shot deflected in front. Mitro tried to bat it in, couldn't get the stick down. And it rolls to the far wing, scooped up by Goodnow. Tipped forward. Hutchinson shooting, and the pad saved by Raguset. Rebound bounces out of play. And with 12:55 left in this second period, again we get a little physical out there. 3-2 Michigan State on Fox Sports Net.
Is Van Earl right? He's a Fox Sports News anchor, but what he does in his own time is his own damn business. Now you and a friend can take on Van Earl in the Bud Light Bubble Boys National Table Hockey Tournament. Win a tourney at participating Detroit area bars, and you can face off against the Earl of Table Hockey.
There's no stopping this kid.
Play him and you could end up at the Stanley Cup and Bubble Boys Final, plus get a game of your own. Win or lose, check out all the action on Fox Sports News on Fox Sports Detroit.
Domination.
Welcome back to Joe Louis Arena. You know, Ron Mason's Michigan State Spartans have dubbed this building Munn East. They are 9-0 here in the last 2 years, but it's not an ordinary 9-0. Included in those 9 wins, a CCHA championship, a GLI championship, and a win over the University of Michigan. So not only do the Spartans win in this building, they win big games. Back to you, Josh.
All right, Jim, thanks. And they are in search of their second consecutive CCHA tournament title, their 9th overall. We talked about Michigan State getting to the Final Four. They thought they had the straight line to get there last year, but that line is bent slightly when Ohio State's Andre Signoretti put one top shelf.
And you're talking about paybacks. Michigan State beat Ohio State in this very tournament last year in 2 overtimes, but then in the regionals, Ohio State did it back to them. Not in 2 overtimes, but still did it to them and sent themselves on to the Final Four.
And of course, the rivalry, most would tell you, is Michigan-Ohio State. But with what you just mentioned, plus what happened in football between Michigan State and Ohio State this year, the one blemish on the Buckeyes football record was indeed Michigan State. Well, we've got a budding rivalry there, too, going to 2 sports and maybe 3, depending on what happens now in the NCAA basketball tournament.
I have a feeling that in college sports, you can find a rivalry between almost anything, if you really want to.
Quick shot, but offsides makes it a moot point. That was Bogus who blasted away, and Chris Bogus, again, playing with that broken thumb. He's not shy about trying to get that cannon revved up here. He's taken a couple of hard slap shots on Raguset.
Well, he's made a good return from off-season surgery on his left wrist, and he doesn't back away from anyone. Chris Bogus, known for his very physical play, one of the best hitters out on the ice. I guess if there is any drawback, and this may not even be a drawback in future part of his career, it would be that sometimes he gets a little too physical. But maybe there's really no such thing in hockey as long as you're keeping it within the rules.
11:53 to play now in this second period. And a game that featured 5 first-period goals, and from some unlikely sources. Brad Hodgins had a pair of goals for Michigan State. His 2nd and 3rd of the year. And then the more traditional goal scorer, Mike York, pinched in. He got credit for a goal that was originally credited to Adam Hall. The 22nd for York. Northern Michigan had a goal from Holly, his 14th. And Roger Trudeau, his 19th. Rebound and a Hall shot lifted just wide and up and over top. Both goalies giving up some long rebounds in this hockey game. Weaver's shot never really did get through, and JP Vijay is able to shuttle it out towards center. Puck knocked down, but look out. We got a Northern Michigan player that was trapped onside. Give some credit. Buddy Smith hustled back onside. As the Spartans now bust out. They're 3-on-2 if they hurry. Mike York. In front it goes, but hauled down was Adams. No call on the play. Kozakowski rifles it in, and Ragaset will set it up. Dangerously, Buddy Smith out in front of his net, coughed it up. Now gets up and tries to hack it out. He couldn't do it. Shot, save, Ragaset. Rebound off the side of the net. And now Dolaney's backhander. Another save for Ragaset. And the whistle will stop action with 10:49 to go in the second period. Ragaset had to come to the rescue of his defense on a couple of giveaways in close.
Well, this had become somewhat of a methodical period, if you will, but it quickly turned the other way as a coughed up puck, and Dolaney right down low just jams away at it. He will get the puck again and jam it at the front of the net as a good centering pass. A good look here. Dolaney's just posturing. He knows that his puck's going to come down. If not, he knows he has enough guys left on the play to get back in the zone. But look at this pass again. He goes from one play to the next, and he's always in position to get that puck. And Rustin Dolaney does a great job right there. But an even better job was by Dan Ragaset, the goaltender for Northern.
And after a shaky start, Ragaset has been strong in this second period. He's faced a total of 20 shots. Blackburn at the other end for Michigan State, only half that total. Mattersdorfer sends it up the far wing, now looking for Chad Thoyer. Dolaney gives the freshman a shove. Now Hodgins comes in to take a whack at it. And the Spartans able to clear. Here they come, 2-on-2. Horkoff trying to stay on sides. He couldn't do it. He was straddling the blue line for a moment. But then he fell forward to halt the play. Sean Horkoff is a guy who you thought might have the big first period if it wasn't going to be Mike York. Instead, it was number 7 for Michigan State, Brad Hodgins. Last year, when we mentioned this, it was Andrew Bogle, who had only 2 regular season CCHA goals, but then he gets here to the Joe. And there he is, number 22, Andrew Bogle. He scores 2 against Northern Michigan in what ended up being a 5-1 Michigan State win in the semifinal. So a little deja vu. It is not Bogle this year, it is Hodgins, but it's the same theme. The least likely guy to have a 2-goal game has actually got one as Michigan State plays Northern.
And quite often in big games such as these, you need a guy to step up because your top guys are often being shadowed. And you need guys that maybe aren't paid attention to enough or given enough respect come up and kind of bite you. And he did it last year, Andrew Bogle. And who's doing it this year? Well, so far it's Brad Hodgins.
And meantime in net, Joe Blackburn, though he did bobble one into the back of the net, has kicked out 8 other shots. And we stay at 3-2 Michigan State. We're halfway through the second period.
Blackburn still leads the nation. 1.31 goals against, save percentage of almost 94.
Quick shot, and there's the stick save. The rebound left there in the slot, batted down ice by Sean Patchell. Well, the numbers almost defy description for Joe Blackburn. 1.3 goals against, the best in college hockey since Godfrey Wood of Harvard some 37 years ago.
Definitely some numbers that rival some of the more well-known goaltenders in hockey history, especially in college. Ken Dryden seems to come to mind.
Yeah, those great years for Cornell, but never a goals against average of 1.01. And again, Blackburn, in a league that is predicated on good goaltending, was not even the first team goaltender in the CCHA. When you talk about an all-star team, we'll see that guy in the nightcap. That's Jeff Mond of Ohio State.
Jeff Mond, we will see him later. He's a guy that is going to be Michigan's going to have to be reckon with him. As you look at Andrew Bogle.
And we go back to talking about Blackburn. You know, that the guy had the numbers to support a first-team All-Star bid. No question about that, with a 1.3 goals against, a save percentage of .937. But the thing in Jeff Maughn's favor, he saw about 400 more shots this year than did Joe Blackburn. And I think that's what swayed a lot of the coaches who did the voting. Here's a quick shot knocked down. And Connolly has a rebound out to the point. Buddy Smith attempting to clear, and indeed, here come the Cats. They trail by a goal. Trudeau shooting on net, and another long rebound. JPVJ couldn't get there. Sandbeck, he lost it. And Mike York, who else? Just gets over there, tries to foist it forward. Northern Michigan, the top scoring team in the CCHA, up against the #1 defensive team in college hockey. Brian Adams on his backhand. He was thumped into the boards by Buddy Smith. Now they'll change direction. And as it got by Hall, it's all the way down ice. And we remain at 3-2 Michigan State, the first of our semifinal games tonight in the CCHA tournament.
Light your world, gonna give you the power, gonna drive you on into tomorrow.
Now the leading name in electricity, Detroit Edison, is becoming the leading choice for all your energy needs. We're DTE Energy.
E equals DTE.
All the experience it takes to provide all the energy you need.
All the energy you'll ever need. E equals DTE.
Looking to crown a champion this weekend here at Joe Louis Arena. Tomorrow we'll see who wins the automatic berth to the NCAA tournament. That's the prize for the winner of the CCHA title game tomorrow night at 7:30 here on Fox Sports Detroit. Now, just as we went away, JPVJ was whistled for his third minor of this hockey game. They get him for the slash.
Well, second team All-Star selection. Tied for second in the CCHA with 10 power play goals, 5 game winning goals in league games. That's some pretty good numbers. So you talk about taking players off the ice for the other team. He took himself off the ice. He's one of the kind of guys who they need on the ice. He was a part of that second goal on the power play for for Northern Michigan, pardon me.
Couple of power play goals already for Michigan State in this one. Both of them by Brad Hodgins, the junior defenseman out of Duncan, British Columbia. And Hodgins actually had a huge game against Northern Michigan last year. He had a 3-assist game against the Wildcats. But this is a guy you figure on scoring maybe 1 or 2 goals all year. And he had 2 in the first period tonight. A collision at the side of the net. The net toppled for a moment, then stayed in place. And Northern Michigan clears. Michigan and Ohio State when this one is done. A lot of you on Fox Sports Detroit will be seeing the Pistons tonight. And then that game a little bit later on tonight after the Pistons are done. Horkoff drops to Hutchinson. Horkoff shooting, hits Raguset, and then off the side of the net. Again, Sean Horkoff cradles it. Gets it back to Andrew Hutchinson. Freshman sends to the side of the net. Horkoff, the team's second leading scorer, looking for a return feed from Adams. Instead, Adams finds another man in front who couldn't handle it, and the Wildcats busted out to center. Here's Frattaroli one-on-one. Frattaroli shooting, and he was tied up by the CCHA's Defenseman of the Year, Mike Weaver. Now, as good of a two-way player as Frattaroli is, he didn't like his odds against Mike Weaver. Another point-blank stop by Dan Raguset as we are back to 5-on-5 hockey. Horkoff threading it into the slot. Witten was turned around. John Nail dumps it off for Damon Witten. Witten out of Brighton, Michigan. And a one-time goalie. Weaver containing it at the point. Michigan State still pressing. Vogel sidestepped. Feeding it over for Nail. He never could get the stick down on it, and Prateroli takes over. He backhands it high and down ice. As Northern Michigan will just catch its breath with 5:31 left second period. Fans, we invite you to get your copy of the 1999 CCHA Championship Commemorative Magazine. All the facts on the 4 semifinalists, some great photos, statistics, and more. You can get your copy for only $6, including shipping and handling, by calling the number on your screen or by checking out the CCHA website at www.ccha.com.
Well, Northern Michigan, the only team in this tournament to be here and win on the road. That's maybe not such a big surprise because they registered a better road mark of 13-8-2 than home record 8-5-3 this season. Northern Michigan's also 7-2-2 in its last 11 road games. And I guess you can call this, even though it's considered neutral site, this is definitely a road game.
Well, especially when the quote-unquote home team is Michigan State.
Yeah, Mun
East again. That 80s retro thing, it's back. That's what they called it about 15 years ago. And they've got designs on it, calling it their own once again. Sean Patchell on the sides, will backhand it in. Sawyer playing Mark Loading. In front, hit the side of the net. And the Wildcats attempting to clear with 4:42 to play in this second period. A second period that's been scoreless. Chad Thoyer's wrist shot, a glove save by Blackburn. And it's number 1 seed Michigan State still leading the number 5 seed Northern Michigan. It is 3-2.
The speed.
Keep your revved up.
When man and machine come together at the Grand Prix of Miami, presented by Toyota. Sunday, March 21st, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central on ABC.
Way to go, guys!
Karts FedEx Championship Series.
3-2 Michigan State second period. It was 1979 when 2 college kids locked horns and launched the phenomenon known now as March Madness. 20 years later, Magic Johnson and Larry Bird look back at the game that captured the country's imagination. Magic versus Bird, the game that changed the game. Premieres Sunday, March 28th at 9 p.m. on Fox Sports Detroit.
Josh, you still have some of those shorts around?
Not in my closet, sir, but we talk about the retro thing, and you know, the last time a number 5 seed advanced to the finals of a CCHA tournament, got to go back to '84. Northern Michigan trying to become just the second number 5 seed ever to get onto the finals. It was Western Michigan that did it in '84. They lost to Michigan State as Mike Weaver sends Bernie Sigris down to the ice. Western led by the heroics of Glenn Healy that year. Hard to believe that was 15 years ago. Horkoff to steal. Sending it in front. It hit a leg and bounced straight up in the air behind him. Horkoff couldn't find it, and here come the Cats. 3:50 left in the second period. Wrist shot and deflected. Just barely getting a piece was Joe Blackburn. He's counting on that quick glove hand. Remember, he's a right-handed catcher, meaning he's a left-handed person, just like Chad Albin, the man he's replacing in net.
Maybe that's why teams have so much trouble with them. They come down, they see the same scenario. The Wildcats, actually, though, have done pretty good in their program. 23-year program history. They've captured 5 league playoff titles. They captured the CCHA playoff title in '80 and '81. During its time in the WCHA, where they spent 13 years, they won playoff titles in '89, '91, and '92. And, of course, the playoff championship in '93.
Well, '91 was their phenomenal year when they beat BU in triple OT in the title game. Actually ended that season on a 26-game unbeaten streak. And as we talk about Michigan State having its unbeaten streak stopped a couple weeks ago, you say that maybe it wasn't a bad thing. because it's tough to do what Northern Michigan did 8 years ago. That's start a winning streak round about January and carry it all the way into April. Michigan State streak this year was ended at 23. And you talk to the players, you talk to Ron Mason, they say that's fine. Now we don't have that added distraction. People aren't asking us about the streak. We're just going out there and playing hockey.
Exactly. And there's Roger Trudeau. He has one goal, the second goal of the game on the power play for Northern. He's not being distracted too much either. He's second on the team in goals now with 19 for the year. In his 39 games, has 25 of his 32 points this year on the road, and has scored 3 goals this season against Michigan State, make that 4, including the one this evening.
Big Brendan Shanahan fan is Roger Trudeau. Says even when Shanny was with St. Louis, he followed him, but at heart he is of course a Red Wings fan, and that's got to be a thrill. You come down from the Upper Peninsula, you get to skate on the same ice that the Red Wings do.
Yeah, and that's funny. You'll find that if a player tries to emulate another player that's in the NHL, even if he gets traded, they still are fans because that's what they want to be like.
A rebound off to the back of the net. Bogle is the meat in a Wildcat sandwich, and we've got a whistle as Bogle was attempting to get up. 2:46 left in the second period.
A much different, and quite obviously a much different second period by both teams than in the first. I think they both came out a little more wide open than they would have liked. 5 goals in that first period, 3 by Michigan State, 2 by Northern Michigan, and 3 power play goals combined by these two teams. This period has offered 0 goals. And a lot more physical play as well by both these teams. A good jam there by Bogle, and then, as you said, a Bogle sandwich.
Another quick shot, never got through. And the bouncing puck taken by Hodgins at center ice. Quickly intercepted and brought back the other way. This is Ryan Reapy. He had a great Great Lakes Invitational. In fact, had a 2-goal game for the first time in his college career in an 8-1 thumping of Michigan Tech, their rival up there in the UP.
He surpassed his rookie goal total and equaled his rookie point total this year so far. He didn't dress in 6 of Northern Michigan's first 11 contests, but has played in 27 of the last 28. You talk about players earning their way into the lineup and then gaining the confidence of the coach so that they are contributors all year long. And here's a prime example in Ryan Reapy.
A break in across the line. Adams shooting. Ragaset stopped it. Rebound left there in the crease. And it skitters just wide where Sandback scoops it up. And Mike Sandback will maneuver out of his end. Boy, Adams came in on a sharp angle and almost was able to lift it up and over Ragaset. And across the line, Northern Michigan trying to mount some sort of pressure here. They've taken only 15 shots in this game. Centering pass. And a backhanded attempt went right through the crease one more time. JP VJ was cruising, looking to tip it home. A break the other way. Adams dropping it off for York, and a poke check from behind. What a beautiful play by Buddy Smith. Boy, York was lining it up. He was ready to let go on Ragaset, and he never did make contact.
Couple real good plays on that last segment there. A good drop pass, but good defensive work as well.
Now Dolaney leaving it for good now. Taking it wide and firing. Knocked down in front, and the rebound at the side of the net. Covered up with 1:16 before the second intermission.
Well, Michigan State's trying to extend their lead going into the third period. They don't trail too often going into the third, and they're trying to really make it tough on Northern as they lead by 1 goal. And they're doing it right at the end of the period here, which is a very pivotal time of the hockey game. A good job here, though, defensively by Northern. A good look at the drop pass here. And then the diving play by Buddy Smith. A great play there, both offensively and defensively. Offensively because they took the man and left the puck for the trailer, which in this case was Mike York. Never a bad guy to leave the puck for. And of course, a good defensive play by the points leader for the Northern Michigan Wildcats, Buddy Smith, who got back and made a nice stick check on the play.
We've talked a lot this year doing these CCHA games about what a good two-way player Mike York has turned into. We can say the same about Buddy Smith for Northern. Those are the two guys we talked about right at the top of the broadcast tonight, Buddy Smith and Mike York. And as advertised, they've been in the center of things in this, the first of the two semifinal games here at the Joe tonight. Michigan and Ohio State getting ready in their respective locker rooms right now. They've got the tunes playing, to be sure.
And with the complexion of this game, you know, I'm not going to say the magic words, but this one is a close game. Let's just leave it at that. I don't want to jinx it.
Oh, you want us to go OT, you know it. You know it. We're going to be going to intermission talking to that man, Ron Mason. He'll be with Jim Blaney coming up in just 15.2 seconds or thereabouts. The coach of the year in the CCHA, and you were at the banquet last night, Mike. It, from all accounts, sounded like Ron Mason was a little bit choked up. Not that he should have been surprised that he won that thing, but from his reaction, it kind of seemed like maybe he was.
Well, it all started with a great idea, and that is having his captains present him the trophy. His three captains were the presenter, and kind of surprised him a bit, but he got up there, and I think just, you know, speaking about the CCHA in general and how much it's grown since he helped start it years ago in '72. And that's probably why he started to remember that how such a great league has been formed.
Well, Dan Ragaset was not yet born when that was going on. He was still 10 years away. But I tell you what, he played a great second period. And Northern Michigan is not that far away from being in this hockey game. They have solved Joe Blackburn twice in the 15 shots they've taken on net. Northern Michigan is down just one to the number 3 team in the nation at the end of 2. Spartans 3, Wildcats 2 on Fox Sports Net.
Where do they find this one? Chapel Hill. Toxicology? Negative.
The car. The competition can't touch it, can't even come close. Intrigue. Why Oldsmobile? Grabbing attention in Metro Detroit like no other. Now with the best lease offer ever, it's a value no one can top, no one can stop. Just $235 a month for GM employees and qualified family members. That's $235. So before your current lease expires, test drive Intrigue and experience sophistication and savings at your Greater Detroit Oldsmobile dealer.
Some fans watch football, but you see a different game with an insider's perspective when you read the new sporting news. Some fans watch basketball, but you see a different game and know who to watch when you read the sporting news. Some fans watch hockey, but you see a different game and know why that team is hot when you read the sporting news. And now you can read the sporting news free when you call now to claim your no-cost 4-issue sporting news mini subscription. Plus, reserve these great sports binoculars free. The Sporting News is now a full-color magazine, packed with the best, most in-depth sports coverage you'll find anywhere. You get all the teams, in season or out. Some fans watch baseball, but you'll see a different game and know what the manager's thinking when you read the Sporting News. Call now for your no-cost 4-issue Sporting News mini subscription. If you like it, get 24 more issues, 28 in all, for 4 easy payments of just $5.99. Plus, get these great sports binoculars free with your paid subscription. Call now and see a different game.
I don't think you know about this. I don't think you're supposed to know about this, but deep inside Jacobs Field in Cleveland, back behind the dugout, there's a room, a secret room, with a sign on it, and the sign reads, sewage ejector. I don't know what goes on inside that room, and I don't know that I want to know what goes on inside of that room. What I want to know is, what do Scully and Mulder know about it?
Home team's Fox attitude. You're watching Fox Sports Detroit.
One of Ron Mason's future recruits watching the game today in Joe Louis Arena, Michigan State leading Northern Michigan 3-2, and 3 guys who didn't quite make the cut. But the report is appreciated nonetheless. Ron, that first period, it was a little bit baffling because I was telling Rick Comley that I can remember watching a game between these two teams earlier in the year, and there was no scoring for practically the whole game. We had a 5-goal offensive outburst in the first.
Well, like I told our team after that period, I said, hey, whether you're ahead 1-0 or ahead 3-2, you're still ahead by a goal. That's the bottom line. But, a soft goal went in on our goaltender, and the puck was bouncing around their goaltender a lot. So it settled down a little bit more, and the goalies, I think, are on their game now.
We're going to take a look at the 3 goals your team has scored. I would have to think you'd be pleased because the basic of these plays is movement of the puck, getting guys with an open spot.
Well, the nice part of this is that we're getting the puck back to the point in the power play there and ripping it home. And since that time, if you watch real closely in the third period, especially there in the second, they weren't giving us this time. They were coming right out and charging. Like, this was a good rip and a nice goal and a setup play that, it works when things are going right for you. But most importantly, here's one that went off both posts, and it just happened Mike York was standing here like he is a lot of the time and puts it away. But on the power play now, they're really challenging us a lot, and we don't have nearly the time that we had early.
Talk about the changeover, and I don't even know if this is accurate, that there is a changeover in the approach to a game like this as opposed to what you had last weekend where you had a little margin for error. Now it's 1 and out, and a goal like we saw your team give up right off the hop, the first goal Northern Michigan had, you can't have that type of goal. Is it harder to play in games where all of a sudden you've got no room for error, 1 loss? And I know you guys are going to the NCAA, but still, you'd like to win the CCHA title.
Well, we would, but I don't think we approach this game any more different than any other game all year long. And I think as well, our guys were into it and playing well. And like I said before, sometimes teams get goals in the first period, no goals the rest of the game, or they might get them in the third period. But the important thing is your head. I mean, it doesn't matter how many goals go in as long as your goaltender can handle it. I mean, Joe doesn't give up very many, so I know it was bothering him a little bit.
Well, the other thing is at this time of year, the only thing that matters is the score and the scoreboard at the end of the game. Right now, we're through 2. Michigan State leading Northern Michigan by a 3-2 count. We're back with more from Joe Louis Arena right after this timeout.
Oh, what kind of fish you're eating? At Big Boy, you do. In the new lake perch dinner, Big Boy serves only specially selected freshwater perch, tender, flaky, and full of flavor. Each select fillet is lightly hand-breaded daily and served golden brown, complete with all-you-can-eat hearty home-style side dishes and soup, salad, and fruit bar, all for just $9.99. And as for the other fish in the sea, someone's using them. Dinner is better at Big Boy, because Big Boy starts with better stuff.
Will features like voicemail work when I travel?
Let me ask my supervisor. Hello! Well, that all depends. If you're traveling from Zone A to Zone B, or B to C, or E to F, or S to R to T, or P to D to Q, or A to C to M to E, or J to G.
Sprint PCS works the same wherever you go. On the nation's only 100% digital, 100% PCS network built from the ground up. Plus, you get the new free and clear plan, including free long distance.
Hey, thanks.
Hi.
Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
When I heard about it, migraine headache pain relief without a prescription, clinically proven from Excedrin, I didn't believe it. I mean, how can you if you know what migraine pain is like? But I tried it because you'll try anything to get rid of migraines. And you know what? Excedrin migraine relieves migraine pain. My own research. That I believe.
Excedrin migraine, the only non-prescription medicine approved for migraine pain relief.
Come experience the magic of Kuwaitan casinos. Make Kuwaitan your northern destination. Enjoy Las Vegas-styled casino action, including craps, roulette, and $100,000 live keno. Try your luck from over 1,000 slot machines with progressive jackpots, or enjoy the comfort of one of our 300 hotel rooms. Kuwaitan means north and so much more.
Speed.
Keep you revved up.
When man and machine come together at the Grand Prix of Miami, presented by Toyota. Sunday, March 21st, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central on ABC.
Way to go, guys!
Karts FedEx Championship Series.
The Avis Preferred Service System, linked by network. So without so much as signing a name, your car and keys are waiting. Still, at Avis, we know technology doesn't try harder. People do.
Running late, Mr. Spencer?
Yeah, huge presentation.
How about I call ahead for directions?
That would be great.
I'll drop you right at your car.
Speed and personal service. It's what everyone at Avis is dedicated to delivering. We try harder for you.
40 minutes of play gone here in semifinal number 1 of the CCHA playoffs for 1999. Michigan State leading Northern Michigan 3-2. All 5 goals in this game were scored in the opening period of action. Last night, the CCHA, before they started thinking about on-ice matters again, took some time out and honored the best of the best in the league, giving out the postseason awards at the postseason banquet. Here's a look at the all-CCHA first team. Hugo Boisvert, who we'll be seeing in the second game coming up tonight between Ohio State and Michigan. And, of course, Mike York. There's a big surprise there that he made the team. Adam Ettinger of Bowling Green. Then the defensemen Mike Weaver and Benoit Cotenoir of Notre Dame. And Jeff Mond, who has had an outstanding season for Ohio State, is the first-team goaltender. Dan Price led the CCHA in scoring. He's one of the forwards on the second team. Ben Simon, who had a huge year for Notre Dame. JP Vijay, the other forward. The 2 defensemen, Mike Jones and Andre Signoretti, who, of course, had that big goal last year in the NCAA tournament to send the Ohio State Buckeyes to the Final Four. And Joe Blackburn of Michigan State is the goaltender on the second team. It was a thankless task to pick out the 2 top goaltenders in this league because there were certainly many outstanding candidates. The all-rookie team, no doubt about it, Mike Comrie, he led the Michigan Wolverines in scoring, so he is on the team, along with David Inman and Adam Hall, Chad Thoyer of Northern Michigan, Jeff Gilson, who every time you check the rankings for the draft-eligible players this year keeps rising up. He's now up into the teens as he's rated by Central Scouting. He's starting to draw a lot of attention from the scouts. Why? Because he's a big defenseman who can move the puck and has great skills, so he's attracting a lot of attention on the next level already as a freshman. Jason Crane of Ohio State, and the goaltender Josh Blackburn of Michigan is the goalkeeper on the all-rookie team. Now here's the best of the best defensive forward, and I think this says a lot about Mike York. Not only is he one of the best offensive forwards, but he's miserable to play against too because he's a great defensive player. Mike York of Michigan State wins that. Best defensive defenseman, Mike Weaver of Michigan State. It almost has to be one of the Spartans, as stingy as they are giving up goals this year. The best offensive defenseman, Mike Jones of Bowling Green. And the last of the awards, the big ones, Coach of the Year, Ron Mason, as he has been so many times in this league. Rookie of the Year, Mike Comrie, who has certainly made a big impact for the Wolverines. And the Player of the Year, no doubt about it, it was Mike York of Michigan State. And right now, Michigan State in a pretty good spot, but it's only a 1-goal lead, and yet another tight game between these 2 teams in the CCHA semis. Michigan State 3, Northern Michigan 2. Josh and Mike back after this timeout.
Hockey players have above-average intelligence.
Judging by angle of trajectory and factoring in x plus y equals z over pi, this should be a goal.
Most college hockey fans also have above-average intelligence. Of course, we did grade on a curve. Go! Come see college kids use their heads as Sprint PCS presents the CCHA Championship at the Joe March 19th and 20th. Get tickets now.
Will features like voicemail work when I travel?
Let me ask my supervisor. Hello! Well, that all depends. If you're traveling from Zone A to Zone B, or B to C, or E to F, or S to R to T, or B to D to Q, or A to C to M to E, or J to G.
Sprint PCS works the same wherever you go. On the nation's only 100% digital, 100% PCS network built from the ground up. Plus, you get the new free and clear plan, including free long distance.
Hey, thanks.
Hi.
Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
The greatest lawns of America have a look, a feel that can come from only one place.
It's good to touch the green, green grass of home.
True Green ChemLawn, where the grass is always greener. For a free lawn analysis, call us today.
You know, most men get pretty shook up about losing their hair. But today, many of them are learning about Bosley Medical. They use your own living hair to fill in the thin spots. Just look at that. It really works. You can treat it like real hair because it is real hair. Your own naturally growing hair, so you don't have to worry about it.
Bosley Medical is the world's most experienced hair restoration practice. For over 25 years, they have performed more than 130,000 procedures using the innovative micrografting techniques pioneered by founder Dr. L. Lee Bosley.
Each surgeon at Bosley Medical is board certified and individually trained by me.
So if you want to have your own naturally growing hair back, call this number for more information. We'll send you this free video and in-depth guidebook that gives you the real facts about hair restoration. There's no cost and absolutely no obligation. So do it for yourself. Call now and get the real results you've been looking for.
It's your real hair.
You can't do better than real.
Sabres Wings, Wednesday at 7 on Fox Sports Detroit.
They've come down from the Upper Peninsula hoping to see something that's never happened before. The number 5 seed winning the CCHA tournament. Right now, Northern Michigan needing to get by Michigan State to reach the finals, trailing by a goal. And early it was Brad Hodgins, his second goal of the season, first of the night as it would turn out. This at the 6:06 mark of the first period. Mike York and Rustin Dolney picked up the assist. Tyson Holly then bounced one in off the Michigan State goalie Joe Blackburn. Tied the game at 1 at 12:18 of the first. All the scoring, in fact, in this game was in the first period. Hodgins struck again on the power play at 13:12. Michigan State extended the lead to 3-1 shortly after that. Mike York's 22nd of the year. Hall and Insana the assist, the first collegiate point for John Insana. But then Northern Michigan fighting back to make it 3-2. Roger Trudeau on the power play. His 19th from VJ and Buddy Smith. Smith leading the CCHA with those 34 assists. 3-2 is where we are right now. And through 2 periods, you check it out. Michigan State doubling up Northern with the shots on goal. It was 7-1 Michigan State in block shots after 1. Look where it is now.
Yeah, definitely a change there as Michigan State coming into the zone and Northern taking a page out of their book, if you will, and now they're all even up. But the shots on goal really tell the story here, doubling up on that department. So Raguset was sharp in that period. I know we didn't have any scoring in that period, but we definitely had some action and we had some physical play as well.
Yeah, 36 minutes total so far in penalties. And, well, the last time these two teams got together here at Joe Louis Arena, it was a Great Lakes Invitational this past December, and you had a 3-2 score heading into the third period. That's what we've got right here. The difference is it was Northern that had the 3-2 advantage after 40 minutes on that night, but they could not hold the lead. Michigan State with 3 third-period goals to win it. Last year at Joe Louis Arena, the title or semifinal game of the CCHAs, it was a 5-goal third period for Michigan State. So Northern knows all about what the final stanza means, or at least in recent history has meant. You go back to the last 5 games played between these two teams, Michigan State has outscored Northern 12-1 in the final period of play. Northern Michigan in the all green and moving from left to right. Haven't seen any scoring since 17:42 of the first period. And the man who's got 2 goals doing some checking right here. Hodgins poked it loose, but the Wildcats keep it in the zone. Buddy Smith trying to wheel away. We had a whistle, an interference call coming 26 seconds in.
Well, as we said, that this game is going to get rough, and right there, not necessarily a rough play, but it's going to be an interference call. There's going to be some penalties that come into play here as they have all game long, and right in the corner, right there, you see the player skating out with the puck, and the Michigan State forward lying on the ice. Well, it's because JP Vijay got involved there, and he's seen the penalty box a few times tonight. I believe that's his 4th minor penalty.
You are correct, sir. And JP Vijay, 2-time Offensive Player of the Week in the CCHA, really cannot help his team, obviously, if he's in the box for 8 minutes total in this hockey game. So Northern Michigan has to kill off the Michigan State power play. And remember, the Spartan power play was revved up just fine in the first period. They went 2 for 2 in the first.
Well, and I said it earlier, but Ron Mason said it as well in that interview. He said they're not going to give us that point shot as freely as they did in that first period. Obviously, Hodgins with the 2 one-time goals from the top of the slot towards the
blue line, and there's a few other shots that made their way through that didn't go in, but they're going to protect that a little tighter this period, I'm sure.
Wildcats able to clear the zone with 1.5 minutes left on the power play. Quick shot from long range, and that's what Northern Michigan did to get back in the game. They just started peppering Joe Blackburn with shots. One of them got in. Fattaroli shot, a glove stop by the sophomore Joe Blackburn, and if nothing else, even short-handed, it would appear that Rick Comley has told his troops, look, men, you didn't start firing on net in that second period as you did in the first. You're going to have to get back to that.
And Fattaroli is usually assigned to the opposition's best forwards, and right there he does a good job. Good steal there by Trudeau, and Fattaroli just rips one. Not a very good angle for the shot, but he still made Blackburn make a save to prevent a goal. He's played 115 consecutive games for Northern Michigan and has a career high 19 points. He was looking for his 20th there.
Here comes Mike York, CCHA Conference Player of the Year. A kick save and the rebound swept off behind the net. Dolaney from his belly tried to center it. Wildcats back 2-on-2. Long slapper missing the mark. Buddy Smith keeps it in, hacks it towards the slot. It is a Michigan State power play. There's 47 seconds left on it. Here comes Kozakowski. Adam Hall tries to chase it. Raguset able to steer it down the far wing. Sandbeck jams now with Dolaney. York able to pry it loose. It goes back to the point. 28 seconds on the power play. Hodgins far side. The return. Kozakowski's shot deflected. Back it comes to Hodgins. He coughed it up at the blue line, and they've got to reload out there at center. Ohio State and Michigan coming up next. Michigan State looking to repeat. They won it all last year, beating the upstart Ohio State team. But then it was Michigan that went on to win the national title. 5-on-5 hockey, and as we've talked about, Michigan not guaranteed of anything. If they happen to lose in this second semifinal game tonight, they are right on the cusp of getting in that field of 12 in the NCAAs.
Yeah, for some teams, it's going to really make a huge difference what they do here. For Michigan State, of course, as we said, they've already had a bid there for the NCAA tournament, but still for many reasons, including placing, would like to win this tournament.
Puck knocked down with a high stick. We'll take a quick timeout. 16:54 left in regulation. 3-2 Michigan State.
Time. Do you know what kind of fish you're eating? At Big Boy, you do. Big Boy serves 100% cod from the icy cold waters of Iceland, because the colder the water, the firmer and tastier the fish. And Big Boy insists on serving only the center loin cut, the tastiest part. What happens to the other pieces? Someone's using them. Dinner is better at Big Boy, because Big Boy starts with better stuff.
College hockey this weekend at Joe Louis Arena. Then Sunday to cap off the weekend. NPSL soccer. The Rockers taking on the Milwaukee Wave. Our live coverage starting Sunday afternoon at 3. You'll see it exclusively on Fox Sports Detroit. First things first, got to get a CCHA champion, even if it means playing until, say 2:30 Sunday afternoon before the Rockers game.
Bite your tongue.
Well, we could see maybe a 6 or 7 overtime thriller. You never know.
Yeah, you never know, and it would very well be a thriller if that happens.
Now, a guy that knows all about long overtimes is in net for Northern Michigan. That's Dan Raguset. Way back when, and actually it wasn't too long ago, it was when he was playing midget hockey with the Marquette Electricians. This man once played a 7 overtime game against the Little Caesars team right here in Detroit. The game-winning goal that snuck in behind Dan Raguset, he tells us, was scored by Max Natsikanov, the son of Sergei Natsikanov, who of course is now part of that emblem, the patch that is worn by the Red Wings players, the team masseuse of the Red Wings. Blackburn made a quick flail at it. And the Spartans back the other way with 16-12 to go. But how about that? Dan Ragaset through a 7 overtime game, and for all of that, he takes the loss. Adams trying to send it in front. It ends up back at the point and beyond. Bernie Sigrist was tied up, and Kozakowski skates back now for Michigan State. All the scoring back in the first period. A frenetic first period that gave way to a much more under control second. Reapy took down a Hall. There was no call made. And the Marquette native Ryan Reapy slithers it out the near side. Intercepted by Mike York, and they'll bang it right back in. Rolling puck stays in the zone for now. Ragaset a glove stop, and they'll set it up for Connolly. Northern Michigan without a couple of its better defensemen. A couple of injuries late in the season. Sean Owens and Colin Young lost for the remainder of this season, no matter how far it goes. And again, Northern Michigan hoping that they might get an invite to the NCAA tournament. Realistically, they've got to beat Michigan State. Here's a wraparound attempt, and the bouncing puck went right through the crease. Rebound, fired, and blocked at the defense one more time. Ragaset way out of net. Horkoff was being held up. Northern being outshot 31-17. Icing the call here with 14:25 left in regulation time.
Well, why don't we talk about how you get there if you don't win the regular season championship or the playoffs. It goes by RPI rankings, first of all, which consists of a one-loss record, about 35%, opponent's winning percentage, about 50%, and then the opponent's winning percentage. And then it goes to head-to-head competition. If you won the season series by 2 games, you get 2 points. If you won it by 1 game, you get 1 point. Then it goes down to common opponents, which is pretty self-explanatory. Results in the last 16 games, also self-explanatory. And then results against teams over 500 also comes into play. And you run down that list, and you start checking off points for everybody that's in the mix under consideration. And then if they're still tied, then you go down to individual ratings down the list and see who was the highest points down the list. So it's really involved, if you will.
Bouncing puck, and Blackburn grabs it. Rock, paper, scissors, by the way, is the final thing that they'll use. Yeah,
and indeed. And the reason why we called it California Dreaming, because it is in Anaheim, the Final Four this year. Also, keep in mind that the committee will be making their decision on Sunday, March 21st. It's only a couple days away. And they've also reserved the right to evaluate each team after all that based on their relative strength of schedule, using the overall conference RPI in determining competitive equity.
Let's take a look at the penalty called here to John Insana.
In front of the net, a little bit of a hook there. That's a good ploy by defenseman. You saw where he had his stick between the legs of the offensive player. That doesn't allow the player to really move very much. You try and cross your feet and you end up falling down, but he did get tripped up on the play, so that's why Insana goes to the box. But when you do that in front of the net, a lot of players will put that stick between the skates, and then you can almost steer the player around the net where you want them to go. And so you'll see a lot of that. Is sometimes you get caught for tripping or interference, as Insana did.
Now, seemingly, a power play is exactly what Northern Michigan needs to go ahead and get the equalizer here, but Michigan State has allowed a power play goal very infrequently and short-handed. They almost got their 14th of those. Brian Adams came in alone, and Ragaset got a glove hand on it. A streak of 38 penalty kills in a row was put to bed earlier tonight, but still 38 of the last 39 have been killed off by Michigan State. Here's Northern looking to tie. 13-13 left in the hockey game. 13 short-handed goals for, 13 power play goals against. Truly one of the more remarkable stats in college hockey. A steal, Horkoff. And again, that shorthanded magic was in your picture for a moment, but now the Wildcats back to the neutral zone and beyond. Dumped in. Brad Hodgins trying to work it out of the zone off the windows, but instead it flies out of play with 36 seconds left on the power play for the Cats.
Yeah, indeed, that penalty kill is something to watch and something to really marvel at. I don't, in my experience, ever remember any team having more shorthanded goals than they have allowed power play goals. And right there, trying to extend on that. The good feed up there by Mike York. Adams does the rest on a couple of beautiful moves. Nice walk around there, and you get the defenseman looking down at your feet or at your stick, and you can make some pretty good moves. And Adams almost gives himself an early birthday present. Tomorrow, he will be 22 years of age.
Loose puck controlled on the near side. Back it comes to White. Side of the net, Rich Mitro has some help in the freshman Chad Thoyer. Gathered in, and then the hand pass called with 20 seconds left on the power play. Mike Weaver going down to do anything he could in his power. That's the defenseman of the year in the CCHA, Mike Weaver.
Best defensive defenseman, and indeed he did a great job all season long. You recall last year he had quite a few points, but this year stayed back and really took care of business and helped Michigan State become the best defensive team in the country.
And he loves his building too. He was the GLI MVP last year. A loose puck and a shot blasted over top by Jeff White. He's been open for a couple of those tonight. Schmidt, and the return pass comes to Thoyer. 9 seconds on the power play. Blackburn made a quick stick stop, and the Spartans able to clear it all the way down on net.
Jeff White looking for a point. He hasn't had one since January 29th, and he's had a couple good rips up in net.
That time he booms it wide. Mitro in front, it deflects right to the goal line, and there was Blackburn to cover it. Little pinball action almost tied the game. We stay 3-2 Michigan State.
Come experience the magic of Kuwaitan casinos. Make Kuwaitan your northern destination. Enjoy Las Vegas-styled casino action, including craps, roulette, and $100,000 live keno. Try your luck from over 1,000 slot machines with progressive jackpots, or enjoy the comfort of one of our 300 hotel rooms. Kuwaitan means north and so much more.
Joe Blackburn trying to protect a 1-goal lead, 3-2 Michigan State over Northern Michigan. We are joined by Eric Malash of Ohio State. Eric, we stood in this tunnel exactly 1 year ago, and I was amazed by your confidence that you felt your team, there was no doubt you were going to go out and beat Michigan, yet here you are again, same position, but the only thing that's really changed is the fact that the respect for the program has grown. How has that affected the way the guys within the program feel about Ohio State hockey?
The program has lifted tremendously, and everybody's gunning for us, knowing that there's no surprises. We've got a good team, and they know if we come out on top guns, coming out blaring, we're going to win the game.
Eric, thanks for your time. We'll see you in the second game. Back to you, Josh.
All right, Jim, thanks. No bold Joe Namath predictions this time from Eric Malash, other than they are confident enough to win it. No guarantees, however.
It's tough to give guarantees in this game. You can't even guarantee Michigan State in this game just because of the way the game has gone.
Connolly and scores! We are tied at 3!
Couldn't have said it at a better time. A deflection in front goes between the legs of Joe Blackburn. Connolly feeds this one forward, and it looks like off of a skate. It's either repeat skate or of Brad Hodgins. That would make Hodgins' third goal of the night. The only problem is this one is on the wrong guy. Right in front, and oh, that's a hard one to tell. It goes actually to the left of Blackburn. That hit someone in front, there's no doubt about that, and we have a tie hockey game.
It hit either the skate of Hodgins of Michigan State or Reapy of Northern Michigan. Either way, a 3-3 tie with 11:22 to go.
You're trying to look underneath of Petrosky there, and it just goes by. It's very difficult to tell. We're gonna have to actually ask a player about that one. Here's a different angle at it. There's a reverse angle. It's fed, and yeah, that looks like Hodgins, but we'll have to wait and see what the official scoring is on that one. Connolly shot it. Repe was in front with Hodgins, and maybe it went off Hodgins, maybe Repe. Maybe we have Connolly, but we definitely have a 3-3 game.
For now, give the goal to Connolly, just his 4th of the year. And looking for the lead. Kozakowski instead swiped at it. Back comes Michigan State. Here's Horkoff, and he broke open a tie game the first time these two teams met. That in East Lansing back on October 30th. He scored late in the 3rd period to give Michigan State the win, and that has been the theme this year. Northern Michigan has been tied in the 3rd period or ahead in the 3rd period in every single game now this year, all 5 of them against Michigan State. But so far, 3 losses and a tie. We know this one can't end in a tie. But will it be some more late 3rd period magic from a Horkoff and company for Michigan State, or can something like this happen to get Northern Michigan forward?
Here's where you're looking. Man, it's really inconclusive because the skates are right together. Here's an overhead look as you see the reaction is this way, but the puck goes this way. And so that's what can fool a goaltender on the deflection. You zigged when you should have zagged.
First time Michigan State has given up 3 goals in a hockey game since Northern Michigan did it on this very ice surface at the end of the calendar year '98. Adams' backhander hit the side of the net, and Raguset might have gotten a piece of it too. So about 3 months between 3-goal games for the opposition. Another bobble by Blackburn. That happened to him in the first period, and it cost him. Northern Michigan becomes the only team this year to score 3 goals in a game twice against Michigan State.
Well, that's why they're the best offensive team in the CCHA, as I mentioned earlier, against the best defensive team here. And offense seems to be at least not necessarily winning the games, as they have not beaten them, but definitely getting their chances and putting some of them in the net.
Chad Foyer looking to center it. Comes away for Brian Phillips. On his forehand, he's got the open man. Schmidt faked the shot. Now shoves it in deep. The freshman Foyer sidestepping Kozakowski. 9:10 to play in regulation. We are tied at 3, and the pass intercepted. Michigan State back. John Nail still with it. Written off the play, and they'll bang for it behind the net. Mike York trying to get free. Instead, it's Mattersdorfer for the Wildcats. He spoons it out to center. Hodgins whacks it right back in. Connolly, his 4th as it stands right now. The goal at 8:38 of the 3rd to give Kevin Schmidt the assist. Northern Michigan was down 3-1. Give them some credit. Now Ryan Repe. His outlet a little bit too far for Barabanov.
And the thing is, the last 2 goals Northern has scored have been definitely earned goals. That first one kind of a fluky goal from just inside the blue line, but the last 2 have definitely been good goals. One on the power play and the other one right here in the 3rd.
Horkoff from just inside the red line. Raguset sets it up, and here comes Northern Michigan. 7:55 to go in the 3rd period. Mike Weaver back as the Wildcats change. The winner gets the winner of Ohio State, Michigan. A steal by Mark Loading. But the Wildcats again able to play it out towards the neutral zone. Lenny Smith's line is out there. Foyer tried to put the move on the Hall, or rather that was Roger Trudeau. Wildcats have to reload with 7.5 to play. A steal. And Hall trying to bust by. He was interfered with by JPVJ.
You notice the body being played a lot more by both teams, but in particular Northern. They know how explosive Michigan State can be, and they're trying to slow them down.
York beating Adams. But again, the Wildcats will clear. And when you've got that high-flying line of York and Adams and Hall out there, that's not a bad idea. Just clear it the heck out of there. Take a commercial and come back. 3-3, third period.
Sorry, that's mine.
See the Rockers ride out the Milwaukee Wave on Sunday, March 21st at 3 p.m.
The Rockers, Detroit's other great team, sharing the joke.
It was a lucky shot.
Fans college hockey at the Joe will continue April 10th. Team USA against Team Canada, the North American College Hockey Championship at the Joe. Tickets available at the Joe Louis Arena box office, all Ticketmaster locations, or you can charge by phone. 248-645-6666, the number to call. Mike York will be there. Bubba Behrensweig from Michigan will be in that series. We'll see him coming up as the Wolverines take on Ohio State next. In front, Connolly, the Flat Rock, Michigan native. Trying to clear, couldn't do it. A feed from Gooden now hit a skate. Rebound shoveled in front, and again it's Connolly who will steer it out the other way. Drop pass. Mitro shooting, and he just missed. Rebound trying to stuff it home. Mitro was there again. Now Mattersdorfer, he was tied up. And the Spartans will bounce it out towards center ice. Boy, Connolly playing a strong third period. Coming back to Detroit. From up in the Upper Peninsula where he's going to school and having a nice season for the Wildcats. In front. Skated away by Doug Schmidt. 3-on-2 if they hurry. Here they come. And it's Schmidt working wide. Insana had it bounce off his body. Mike Weaver harassing his man from behind. Fattaroli takes over. Now Tyson Holly. He's got a goal tonight. And it's scooped away by John Nail with 5:53 to go. Nip and tuck hockey is what we've come to expect from these two teams this year. It's been a great series. 3-1 Michigan State the first time they met, with 2 late third period goals to win it. Michigan State won it in the third period in the next meeting. That final 2-1. Another third period surge for a win in the Great Lakes Invitational. That final 5-3. The last meeting, no winner. Big hit from behind the net. And the fans from Northern Michigan love it.
Well, the Northern fans have been kind of silent for the past couple periods, especially the second, but boy, they've livened up a bit here in the third.
York had it picked off his stick, and here comes Buddy Smith. His slapper knocked down. And as Barabanov slipped, Adam Hall almost had a break the other way. Less than 5 to go before overtime. York, drop pass, a good one to Adams, firing, and a save by Ragusin. It got behind him. Spartans keep it alive. Shot, and the kick stop from the defense by Barabanov. Mattersdorfer now will send it in. And Hodgins, who's got 2 goals in this game, 4, perhaps 1 against. Ragusin out to play it. Mattersdorfer had it bounced right off his stick and in deep. Chad Thoyer battles, gets it, centers. Shot from Phillips was deflected over top. Now it's Dolany. Northern Michigan with only 17 shots, but 3 have slipped behind Joe Blackburn. #1 goalie in the nation in terms of goals against average and save percentage. Shot. Score!
Tournaments. Repeat centers this puck, and Frattaroli blasts one in, and it goes off of a Michigan State defenseman, I believe. And Frattaroli scores the goal. He's scored big ones before, and he does it again. Watch the centering pass, and it goes off of, it looks like Brian Adams in the slot. The play will circle out, and it'll go off of Brian Adams as it deflects by Joe Blackburn. Blackburn has had to deal with 2 deflections on the last 2 goals. And Northern Michigan is setting itself up to do something that no one thought would happen in this game, and that is beat the Michigan State Spartans.
The number 5 seed has a 4-3 lead with 3:54 to go.
Bradaroli was high in the slot. No one took him. The defenseman also up there. Bradaroli came in, and no one took him. He was wide open, and then Adams turned around just in time to partially block the shot, but he ended up deflecting it in his own net.
Now Mike Weaver, he'll slap it. And it's knocked down to Mike York. 3.5 to go. York, the player of the year, centering for Hall. Backhander never got through. Yes, it did, and Ragaset was able to dive on it. 3:28 to go in regulation. Northern has a 1-goal lead.
Feel the speed.
Keep you revved up.
When man and machine come together at the Grand Prix of Miami, presented by Toyota. Sunday, March 21st, 4 p.m. Eastern, 3 Central on ABC. Karts FedEx Championship Series.
Michigan State has not lost this year when leading after 2. They're in danger of having that happen to them now. They'll look to that guy, the captain, Mike York, to provide some more late-game magic. He and Sean Horkoff have been doing that all year, and in particular against this Northern Michigan team.
Well, you know they're going to have to put up a barrier, that is Northern, to these guys, because Michigan State will pressure hard for the rest of the way.
Oh, they're coming. They've got 3:10 left, and they'll be buzzing around Dan Ragaset. Just the 3rd time this season that Michigan State has allowed 4 goals in a hockey game. The number 1 defensive team was matched up in this semifinal game against the top offensive team in the league. And it's offense over defense for now. Shot just missed on the short side. Hodgin steering it in front, and VJ comes out of the pack for Northern. A 3-on-2. Roger Trudeau had it hacked away by Hodgins. 2.5 to go before the upset is in the books. York, good feed to Adams. Wrist shot, just missed. It got by Ragaset, but it was wide. Now 2-on-2 come the Wildcats, and again they're not going to do anything but just try to kill some time here.
And if the Wildcats win, it'll guarantee a couple things. First of all, that game later this evening will be huge, even more huge. And also, it'll also guarantee that Michigan State won't take both the regular season and the championship, which means it guarantees that there'll be another team guaranteed a seed in the NCAA tournament.
The defending CCHA champion is in trouble. 3-on-2 again developing for Northern. Reapy shooting, save Blackburn. A big one with 1:42 to go.
That is a save that had to be made. It had to be. And Reapy gets a good shot on goal. And Blackburn makes a save. Northern on the rush. Reapy takes it all the way and gets a good wrist shot. And it hits Blackburn in the chest, and he gets the rebound. As we look at the goal again, the one that is leading this game, Reapy centers it, and you're looking right at the tip, and it throws the puck the other way on Blackburn. That's the 2nd time in a row on goals by Northern that Blackburn has been going one way and reading it properly and having it go the other way on him.
Rick Conley's team poised for the upset. Is that any way to repay the man who recruited you? Ron Mason was the man who broke him in at Lake State. We won't say how many years ago. It was about 30. All right, there we said it. But Ron Mason, the coach of the year, named last night. His top-seeded team is on the ropes. 1.5 to go. Horkoff shooting, knocked down at the defense and golfed all the way down ice.
Ron Mason played against one of the three other coaches, and that was Michigan's Red Berenson, and he coached the other two. So not just Comley. And so you look at the situation when you talk about Ron Mason, you know why he is the man in the CCHA, and right now he needs to get his team a goal in with 1:25, and you know which line he's going to have out there late here. Right now he has the Horkoff line, and Horkoff and Dolan know how to put it together late.
Here's Hodgins trying to thread it through. It was knocked down, and again it'll be JPVJ to skate it away. 1:15 left. A number 5 seed has only advanced to the CCHA finals once in history. Last time was in '84. How many times has a number 5 team actually won the tournament? Never. The net is empty for Michigan State. The extra attacker on. Cleared down ice, wide of the net. 45 seconds left, and icing coming.
Well, this sets it up for Michigan State. 45 seconds left. Northern Michigan tried to just chip that one out. It went a little too far for them, and you never know. Maybe Ron Mason might take a timeout in this situation, because with 45 seconds, it gives him a chance to really set things up, a face-off, and indeed he has gone to his timeout.
This copyrighted program presented by authority of the CCHA is for the private non-commercial use of our audience. Any publication, reproduction, retransmission, and/or other use of the pictures and accounts of this game without the express written consent of the CCHA and Fox Sports Detroit is prohibited. John Markle's Ohio State Buckeyes are up next against Michigan. And it was John Markle's team that matched up against Michigan State in the finals last year. Michigan State, the defending tournament champion, but they are 45.2 seconds away from being dethroned.
And as I said, that really makes the game starting at 8:30 against Ohio State and Michigan. If Michigan State can't come back and send this one to overtime, that's going to make that game huge.
Let's quickly go down ringside to Jim Blaney.
Josh, during the timeout, Rick Comley didn't talk to a lot of his guys, but just delivered very basic messages. The one guy he did talk to a little bit was Buddy Smith, who no doubt he's got the biggest job of anybody on the ice right now. He's got to win this defensive draw, and he's got to win it against Mike York. Back to you.
Comley. It's an apt name, isn't it? He's got his team playing completely under control right now. They have come back from down 3-2 to lead 4-3, but Mike York's line is out there for Michigan State, and the extra attacker on. Schmidt clears it, but not out, not yet. Here's Buddy Smith, an open net in front of him. He's got VJ! Northern Michigan will advance!
Michigan with an empty net goal. They've captured CCHA playoff titles in 80 and 81. And they would like to do it again here if they can win tomorrow, but they've knocked off the number 1 seed, Michigan State, number 4 in the country. And that's only the 5th loss all year for Michigan State. And it comes at the hands of someone that they had beaten all year long, albeit close games. They still had Northern's number. Well, when it counted here, Northern Michigan has come up with a huge win.
Mike, in the last 5 games between these two schools, Michigan State had outscored Northern in the 3rd period 12-1. Tonight, 3-0 for Northern.
10-4.2.
By the way, later tonight, Fox Sports News Primetime, all the headlines, the highlights, and breaking stories. We cover your hometown teams 7 nights a week, Fox Sports News Primetime. You'll see it on Fox Sports Net. Michigan State had not allowed 5 goals in a hockey game all year until tonight. would appear to be the magic number. The number 5 seed is about to advance. They will take on the winner of Ohio State and Michigan. And that late game thunder and lightning just never materialized on this horizon here. Michigan State will not advance. They will not repeat as the CCHA champs. We'll see the Wildcats tomorrow.
And celebration for Northern as they had an unbelievable third period and a very odd hockey game, to say the least. 5 goals combined for these two teams in the first period. No goals to speak of in the second. And then a whitewash for Northern. 3 unanswered goals in the third period, including an empty netter, to take this semifinal and give themselves a chance at a bye to the NCAAs if they win tomorrow. They do not know who they're going to play.
Dan Ragasset stopped the last 22 shots that he faced in this hockey game after letting 3 slip by him in the first period. And the native of the Upper Peninsula, the native of Marquette, Michigan, where Northern Michigan University is based, has helped Rick Comley beat the guy that recruited him 30 years ago at another UP school, Lake State. Ron Mason's Michigan State team, well, they will be in the NCAA tournament, but they will not be CCHA champions.
Well, Rick Comley's been with the program since it started in Northern, and he has his team maybe set to do something they haven't done since '81.
At the beginning of the broadcast, we talked about the job that the Wildcats would have to do neutralizing Mike York. And one of the big guys we thought would have to do that was number 9, Brad Frattaroli. Not only did he do that, he actually scored the winning goal, and he is standing by with Jim Blaney.
Brad, I would imagine in the next 20 years that goal you scored is going to turn into an end-to-end rush to put it away.
Hey, I don't care what people say. I mean, all I care is went back in the net, and I'm happy with that, man.
From seeing you and your teammates play the last couple of years, you've always been a confident group. You always felt you belonged with the elite teams in the CCHA. What does it mean that you've gotten up to that step? Now you're going to play for a title and right to go to the NCAAs?
It means a lot to us, especially the seniors. You know, we came in as freshmen. We were at the bottom of the WCHA, and we fought our way back to climb up to, you know, this point today. And I mean, it means a great deal. You know, something we always wanted.
Your team gave up a quick goal early to Michigan State and then got what everybody refers to in this game as a bad goal. How much did it get you guys going when you got that goal and it maybe showed that it was your night?
Oh, yeah. I mean, any type of goal, you know, in a game like this is going to be big. You know, whether some people call it a lucky goal or whatever, you know, it got us back into it, and that's what it took for us. You know, that's what we needed. So we'll take what we can get right now.
Brad, congratulations. Enjoy playing for a title tomorrow night. Josh, Mike, back to you.
All right, Jim, for the first time in 15 years, a number 5 seed is going to the title game in this CCHA championship weekend. Michigan and Ohio State coming up next, but this goal from Brad Frattaroli stood up as a game winner. Northern Michigan has beaten the number 1 seed Michigan State. We're back with a lot more after this.
Hockey players have above average intelligence.
Judging by angle of trajectory and factoring in x plus y equals z over pi, this should be a goal.
Most college hockey fans also have above average intelligence. Of course, we did grade on a curve. Come see college kids use their heads as Sprint PCS presents the CCHA Championship at the Joe, March 19th and 20th. Get tickets now.
Did you ever notice we live in a no-frills world? Cut-rate airlines, warehouse shopping, self-serve pumps. And whoever said less is more? Hey, more is more.
You get more for the money. A lot more for it, honey. You get more for the money, 'cause McDonald's treats you right. Somebody say McDonald's.
Hi, everybody. I'm Dan Deardorff. Where would you go for a home equity loan? Let's ask.
Oh, banks have the best rates.
But banks only lend money when you don't need it.
Advanta National Bank is different. They lend money to people when they need it.
Right. With my credit?
They made their first loans 45 years ago to teachers who had trouble borrowing. They helped out when others wouldn't.
This is a bank, right?
With customers who get the flexibility only a national bank can offer, right over the phone.
Got to move all your accounts there.
Nope, just call Advanta. One of their loan specialists will show you how to use the equity in your home to pay off all of your bills. Get one low monthly payment and save hundreds of dollars a month, plus a tax deduction.
You'll wait for some board to approve.
You'll get fast approval over the phone. And your money in about 10 days. You don't need to have money in the bank to get money from a bank. To get the loan you want, call Advanta. 1-800-433-4405. That's 1-800-433-4405. Hey, they don't keep bankers' hours either.
Well, he's sweating over there, but not because he's losing. Dan Malloy's leading 5-3.
He's got to come back up and hopefully shoot to 5 in the same pocket.
Well, that shouldn't be a problem. I think that was the toughest thing. It would appear now that the rack is his for the taking. And there it is.
Notice the cue ball. Center of the table. Bing.
Roddy's lucky to avoid a selection call. And as you can see, there's some action on table number 1.
Home team's Fox attitude. You're watching Fox Sports Detroit.
Northern Michigan has an upset, a 5-3 win over number 3 Michigan State, and a 3-goal third period carries the team from the Upper Peninsula. Really a remarkable turn in that third period.
And I guess it's the way that they won too. I mean, they beat Michigan State, and they did it in a game that is really the kind of game that you don't often see them lose, and that is Michigan State. It wasn't a 1-1 game that was won by a fluke goal. It was a game that they really did earn.
And Michigan State falls, and assumably hard. That's not an easy thing for them, especially after the CCHA awards banquet last night where they pretty much cleaned house. Northern Michigan, a lot more unheralded, and they win it. Rick Comley, their coach, is standing by with our Jim Blaney.
All right, Josh, thank you very much. And first of all, Coach, congratulations. I guess we get these examples every once in a while about how hard work and diligence and playing the full 60, as coaches always preach, pays off.
Well, you know, I think the key obviously was just kind of settling down, getting by those first couple goals, which were power play goals. And the kids were tired. I mean, that was a tough series last week, and I thought it showed tonight. But, geez, they never quit playing. And a few adjustments kind of neutralized York a little bit. And then Smith, you know, I know York gets a lot of credit. He's a great player. But Buddy Smith, pound for pound, is pretty good, too.
Let's talk about the game-winning goal, because it was similar to the first goal of the game in that not necessarily on its way to the Hockey Hall of Fame, but, hey, you take it, and it results because guys are working hard and going to the net.
Well, I don't think for Joe it was a great hockey game. But, you know, you're going to have those games, the puck goes in, well, that hit a stick right there. So he has obviously no chance on a deflected shot.
We sat here in the first intermission and we talked a little bit about that, and really after that first goal that your team got, did you have the feeling that maybe it was going to be your night, that you were going to get the breaks in here in this building where Michigan State has been always so tough?
Well, the first goal stopped them from blowing us out because there was danger of that happening. And then as it went on and on, you were hoping to get it down in the last 10 minutes with one goal. And then you never know at that point. And unfortunately, when you get a goal, nothing eliminates fatigue more than scoring a goal.
Last year, it was Michigan and Michigan State that everybody talked about. Ohio State jumped up into that category. I've always had the feeling, talking to your teams last couple of years, that they have always believed they should be in that elite class. Does that put them there, and is this the reward for all their hard work?
Well, I mean, that's a nice statement. I think we're proud of our program. We've been on the way back the last couple of years. Michigan State is still the class of the league right now, but you know, we're working our way up the ladder.
Coach, congratulations. Good luck tomorrow night against either Ohio State or Michigan. Let's go back upstairs to Josh and Mike.
All right, Jim, thanks. And Northern Michigan helps itself immensely in terms of getting into the NCAA tournament, too. No matter what happens against either Ohio State or Michigan, this will be very, very big for a team that was right on the cusp of getting an invite or not.
Indeed. Northern now, even if they don't win tomorrow, they still have beat, and we talked about those rankings, they have beat definitely a team that's over 500, and you talk about strength of schedule, that's a good win for them. So whether they win or lose, it's a good win.
Yeah, but you get the sense they want to win. They want to beat Ohio State or Michigan. We'll figure out who it's going to be in the second game of our CCHA conference tournament doubleheader. But first, we've got more to do to tell you about what happened in this 5-3 final. We'll be back.
Where do they find this one? Chapel Hill. Toxicology? Negative.
features like voicemail work when I travel?
Let me ask my supervisor. Hello! Well, that all depends. If you're traveling from Zone A to Zone B, or B to C, or E to F, or S to D, or B to D to Q, or A to C to MD, or J to G.
Sprint PCS works the same wherever you go, on the nation's only 100% digital, 100% PCS network built from the ground up. Plus, you get the new free and clear plan, including free long distance.
Hey, thanks.
Hi. Sprint PCS, the clear alternative to cellular.
The car. The competition can't touch it, can't even come close. Intrigue by Oldsmobile, grabbing attention in Metro Detroit like no other. Now with the best lease offer ever, it's a value no one can top, no one can stop. Just $235 a month for GM employees and qualified family members. That's $235. So before your current lease expires, test drive Intrigue and experience sophistication and savings at your Greater Detroit Oldsmobile dealer.
Come experience the magic of Kuwaitan casinos. Make Kuwaitan your northern destination. Enjoy Las Vegas-styled casino action, including craps, roulette, and $100,000 live keno. Try your luck from over 1,000 slot machines with progressive jackpots, or enjoy the comfort of one of our 300 hotel rooms. Kuwaitan means north and so much more.
At Joe Louis Arena, where at the Great Lakes Invitational 3 months ago, it was a 5-3 final for Michigan State. Over Northern Michigan, the tables have turned. Northern Michigan advances to the CCHA tournament final, and one of their big guns, Buddy Smith, Mr. Assist, is standing by with our Jim Blaney.
Well, you know what, Josh? We've heard so much about Mike York, and rightfully so. He's the top player in the league. But every time that Michigan State has played Northern Michigan, Buddy Smith has drawn the chore of keeping Mike York in check. And you know what? You've done a very good job throughout the year. It's got to be satisfying for you and especially your senior classmates to finally get this huge win that gets you into the CCHA title game.
Yeah, it's great. You know, we've been after Michigan State. That's where you want to measure your team up against this year. You know, they've a 23-game unbeaten streak and all that, but you know, to come out here and finally do it. We've played with them 50 minutes for about 3 of the 4 games, and finally we played a full 60 and come out with a win.
Let's take a look at Roger's goal that you set up, and this is, I will say this is one of the pure goals in the game, buddy, because the winner in the first one were a little bit fluky, but hey, you take it.
Well, we'll take it. They charge you pretty hard on the wall. We knew that was coming, and Vijay was going to sink low. I chipped it down to Vijay. He put the pass right on Raj's tape, and Raj, he don't miss.
What's the atmosphere like in the locker room right now? Granted, you guys do have one more game to play, and I'm sure you're aware of that, but this has to be just awfully uplifting to finally get this huge win over Michigan State.
Well, right now it's pretty crazy in there, but we're going to try and settle it down here. We're going to enjoy the victory and then settle it down, watch who we play tomorrow. I mean, it was a great win, and guys are pretty pumped up.
I would have to imagine something on you and your teammates' mind has to be the fact that, you know what, we have no guarantee no matter what happens tomorrow. Do you and your teammates feel that you absolutely have to win that game tomorrow night in order to go to the NCAA tournament?
Yes, we do. We've played desperate hockey since we lost the first one at Notre Dame. You know, your backs are against the wall, and we come out with a big win Saturday in Notre Dame, Sunday, and we kept the streak going, and we have no plans to lose tomorrow.
I look back on the schedule, and you lost the first game of the GLI here to Michigan State, and after that, you guys really seemed to take off. Was that any turning point of the season, or did that just happen to be the way it was in the calendar?
I think it was a little turning point. You know, we kind of measured ourselves against Michigan State. That's kind of a good stepping stone. And when we got beat by them, you can either pack your bags in and say, you know, we're not quite good enough this year, or everybody can step up, play your hardest. And you have guys, Ryan Reapy, you know, he's played an unbelievable game, maybe little limited ice time, comes down, sets up Frattaroli for the game winner. That's the kind of guys we have on our team. They never give up.
Buddy, congratulations on the reward that Northern Michigan has been given for a lot of hard work the last couple of years. They are into the CCHA title game. Let's go back upstairs to Josh and Mike.
All right, Jim, thanks very much, and congratulations to Buddy Smith and the Northern Michigan Wildcats, a 5-3 win that they scrape out over Michigan State. Now we've got Ohio State and Michigan coming up, and a reminder for those of you watching on Fox Sports Detroit, there are a couple of things that we have to kind of work through here, as there will be a Pistons game coming up on Fox Sports Detroit. Some of you will see that, but for those of you joining us for Game 2 of the CCHA semifinals, it will be available on alternate channels throughout the Detroit area. Here is a list of those cable companies that will carry this second semifinal game live at 8:30. So again, if you're watching on Fox Sports Detroit, check it out, and you might see your cable system on this list, a chance for you to go watch Game 2 live. That's Michigan and Ohio State. Of course, Game 2 will be rebroadcast later tonight on Fox Sports Detroit after Fox Sports News. The first game of the semifinal double dip, 5-3. The final score, Northern Michigan with a 3-goal third period, and they stun number 3 in the nation and number 1 seed Michigan State.
So we've had one surprise this evening, and are we going to get another? Well, maybe this second game won't really give us as much of a surprise, because either one of these teams, Ohio State or Michigan, could win, and it wouldn't be a big surprise because they've played so tight against each other.
And you talk about burgeoning rivalries. Already Ohio State and Michigan in any sport is a huge rivalry. Northern Michigan and Michigan State has become a pretty nice rivalry suddenly.
It has, and even though Michigan State won all the season games, it still was a tight season series in every game, a tight game, and this game was kind of back and forth, and all of a sudden Northern exploded in the third period, something they hadn't done all season long.
That's right. There were some bad goals early in the game. The first period saw 5 total goals, and Joe Blackburn, I'm sure, wasn't real proud of the 2 that he let in. Dan Ragaset let a couple of kind of raggy goals get in there as well, but in the end, after kind of a steady second period, it was all Northern Michigan in the third.
Yeah, it was kind of odd. We had all our goals in the first, all the first 5 goals, pardon me, none in the second. The 3 unanswered in the third made the difference in the game. It was quite amazing.
So indeed, the number 5 team in this tournament, the Northern Michigan Wildcats, are going to advance. They are a young team, and they will perhaps face not quite that young Ohio State, but they are up next against Michigan. That comes your way at 8:30 for those of you who can receive it on an alternate channel. It will also be tape delayed on Fox Sports Detroit at 1:30 a.m. For Mike Greenlay and Jim Blaney, Josh Lewin saying so long from the Joe. Again, your final score in this, the first semifinal game, Northern Michigan 5 and Michigan State 3. Mike York did have a goal and an assist, but the Wildcats bouncing back with 3 third-period goals taken in impressive fashion. You've been watching the CCHA on Fox Sports Detroit, your home of Fox Sports Net. Now, for some of you, stay tuned for Pistons basketball on Fox Sports Detroit.